is nothing but we will introduce each other. Okay, we'll do the housekeeping things. That is, we'll talk about the timings and about, yeah, so timings, when it is going to start, when the training starts, when it ends, about the lunchtime, all those things, basic things, housekeeping things. Okay. Then we'll discuss about the intended audience for whom this course is designed for. Okay, and what is the course focus. Then we'll talk about the course objectives and agenda. That is, what are the different modules that we are going to cover in this course. Okay, and what is the objective, what we should be able to do once we complete the course. We'll talk about that, and also finally about our lab topology, how our lab works. And I will be providing you with the lab link and the credentials where you can go and access the lab. Okay, so just the module number 0, basic introduction module. Okay, so first let's get introduced. Okay, so first let me introduce myself. Okay, so hello everyone, my name is Arun. Okay, and I will be your instructor for this course. And regarding me here, I'm representing Data Cipher. Okay, and Data Cipher is the authorized training partner of Palo Alto Networks, and I provide trainings as of now under various courses of Palo Alto Networks. So I provide trainings under your Strata part. Now Strata is nothing but your firewall security, okay, network security, that is. So in that we have courses like EDU 210, which is about firewall. I hope you know firewall configuration and management. So that course I handle. Then I handle EDU 220 course, which is Panorama. So if you want to manage multiple firewalls from a single location, we may use Panorama. So that course I handle. I also handle EDU 330, which is the advanced troubleshooting. Any issues with the firewall, how do you troubleshoot that? That course is handled. And also I handle courses under Cortex. Okay, so Cortex is nothing but your endpoint security. Okay, so your SOC analysts are going to use endpoint security. So under that you have Cortex XDR, which is the course I handle. So XDR, we have two courses, XDR engineer and XDR analyst, and that's what we will be covering this week. Okay, and I'm from Bangalore, India. I hope you all know. Okay, so yeah, so that's a small introduction about myself. You guys, you can go ahead, introduce yourself. Okay, so you can let me know your name and where you are working, what is your designation, and how much experience you have. And also, please let me know if you have worked with XDR before. Okay, Cortex XDR, have you worked before or not? And if you have worked, how much years you have worked, how much experience you have with XDR, you can let me know that as well. Okay, so you can volunteer yourselves, you can come up and introduce yourself. I'm not going to call up any names. Yeah, please go ahead, guys. I'm not, one by one, you can go ahead. Who wants to go first? Anyone? Come on, guys, don't be shy. Please introduce yourself. Anyone wants to go first? Hey guys, I hope I'm audible. Yes. Okay.
Hello everyone.
Hi.
Yeah. My name is Quân. I'm from Vietnam.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, Currently, I'm working as security engineering.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I have a 3-year experience on
Mm-hmm.
Palo Alto firewall and
Mm-hmm.
Panorama, but I don't have much more about Cortex. So
Mm-hmm.
hope that I can get more knowledge in this course.
Sure, sure. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, who wants to go next? These guys. Come on, guys. It's okay. Just give me your introduction and we'll be good. Yeah, yes, go ahead, Sumadhi. Yes.
Yeah.
Hi.
Good morning, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Sumardi. I'm from Exclusive Network Indonesia. I'm
Mm-hmm.
joining Palo Alto teams just a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
So previously, I'm handling something like data security things,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, my position right now is more on the Cortex specialist. So I need to learn more lah.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure. Okay. So you are beginning with Cortex XDR, right?
yeah, correct. Yeah,
Okay,
yes.
awesome. Okay. We'll learn about it. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. Who else wants to go ahead? Please, guys. Please introduce yourself just to have some interaction. No one wants to go ahead. I'll wait for a few more seconds. Somebody wants to introduce. Please go ahead, guys. Don't feel shy. No? Okay, at least you are listening. If you're listening, give me a thumbs up. It's okay if you're feeling shy, you don't want to come and introduce yourself. Just give me a thumbs up, everyone, please, so that I know you all have joined and you all are listening. Yeah, thank you, Irfan. Thank you. Thank you, Doug. Thank you. What about others? Give me a thumbs up. Yeah, thank you, Kim. Thank you. So 3 people plus Kwan and Sumadhi. 5 people are listening to me. What about others? Just give me a thumbs up. You have a thumbs up reaction. Just give me that. Okay, Chung says I can't use the computer. Okay, Chuang Jung says hi. Okay, thank you. Okay, awesome. Okay, fine. So guys, I hope everyone is settled down. If you want more time, please do let me know or else we'll continue. Okay. Okay, thank you guys. It's okay. So few of you cannot speak. That's okay if you are feeling shy, I guess. That's fine. Okay, not a problem. But I hope you all are listening to the session. Okay, and I hope we learn something from the session. Okay, so I'll talk about the timings, other things, right? So other important things. So it's okay if you're not coming up and introducing yourself. So we'll talk about the other information like your timing. Okay, so what we are following is we are following Singapore SGT, Singapore Standard Time. Okay, so I hope people are from various parts of the world. So few of, let's say, one is from Vietnam, one is from Malaysia, somebody from maybe Singapore, Thailand, China. Okay, so we are going to follow Singapore time. Okay, and we are going to start at 9 a.m. Okay, so Singapore time we are going to follow start at 9 a.m. and we will be ending the session daily somewhere around 5 p.m. Okay, mostly will not go till 5 p.m. We'll be completing it before that itself. But yeah, that is our end time. Okay, so we'll be ending at 5 p.m. Lunch break will take somewhere around 12:30. Okay, 12:30 or 1. We can keep it any time between that, right? So 12:30 or 1, and it will be a 1 hour lunch break. Okay, so lunch will be 1 hour, or you want to extend it by 10 or 15 minutes, please do let me know. We can do that. Okay, so we'll have enough time. But yeah, minimum 1 hour lunch break, somewhere around 12:30 or 1 p.m. Singapore time. Okay. Then also we'll have breaks in between breaks. Okay. After each module, whatever we complete, we'll take 10 minutes or 20 minutes break according to our convenience. We'll have breaks. Okay. And also let me remind you what we will do is a morning session. We will take up all the theory part. Okay. So the slides, all the slide deck, every theory thing we'll do it in the morning. Afternoon session, we'll keep it for the labs. Okay, so I'll give you the lab credentials. You need to do the labs in the afternoon session. After lunch break, we'll have the labs. Okay. Then places, since this is online training, all this is at your own place, so I don't have to explain these things. Okay. So yeah, so that's about your introduction. So we'll move ahead. Now, for whom this course is designed for? Okay, who are the intended audience? Who it is designed for? So this is designed for the analysts, all the analysts, right? So SOC engineers, so CERT, CSI, RT, XDR engineers, right? So these are the people who will be using Cortex XDR and this is designed for them. And this assumes a working knowledge of security operations, needs, and practices. Okay, and also a few basic network and endpoint security fundamentals. Right. So I hope you all are fine with it. So you will be already experienced. So I hope this is not a problem. So basic things regarding your security operations, regarding your endpoint fundamentals. I hope that's not a problem. Okay. So yeah, so that's your intended audience. Now comes your agenda. So what are the different modules that we are going to cover in these 3 days? Okay, so as I said, XDR engineer. So this is XDR engineer course where we will have 3 days. Okay, so day one, that is today. Today, what we'll start is we'll start with course intro. Now, whatever we are talking right now, this module is nothing but your course intro. Okay, so this is module number 0. This is module number 1. And this is module number 2. Yeah. Okay, so course intro is nothing but whatever we are doing now. So having our introductions and then going through the modules, what is our objectives regarding your lab information, all these things we are covering now is your course intro module. Okay, once we complete this, then we'll jump to module number 1, which is about overview of Cortex XDR. Okay, so in this module, it's again like an introduction module about what is XDR. Okay, so we'll see an overview about XDR. We'll have an introduction about it. Then we'll understand how the architecture works of how the XDR architecture works. What are the different components available in your XDR? Okay, then we'll talk about what are the different features and functionalities of XDR. Okay, and what is it that XDR solves? Which problem does XDR solve? Okay, that also we'll cover in module number 1. Okay, then module number 2 is about the software components. Now, there are 2 main software components available in your Cortex XDR. One is the console. Okay, you can call it as management console, or you can call it as instance, or you can call it as tenant. Okay, so management console is the one from where we are going to do all the operations. So we as analysts, we as engineers, XDR engineers, we will be having access to the management console. Okay, and we are going to configure everything. We are going to manage everything via your management console. So we'll see what a console is, what are the different things available in the console, what are the different tabs. Let's say once we get access. So first we'll see how do we get access to the management console. Okay, so what are the different ways that we can access your management console? It is nothing but your XDR interface. Okay, so that is spun up in your GCP by Palo Alto Networks, and they will provide us the access. Okay, so we need to have access to the management console, and from there we are going to manage everything. So we'll see how to get access to it and what are the different options available in your Cortex XDR management console. What are the different menu elements, tab elements. Okay, so we'll explore your console as a whole. Okay, then we'll talk about the another software component which is called as the agent. Okay, now agent is nothing but the software, the agent software, which we are going to install on the endpoints. Okay, now XDR means what? It is nothing but your enhanced detection and response tool. So we are going to talk about endpoint management. Okay, so we need to secure all the endpoints. So let's assume in our office, in our network, in our environment, we have multiple devices on the endpoints. Okay, now whatever devices are having IP addresses, they are all endpoint devices in our network. Okay, and we want to safeguard all our endpoint devices. And so what we'll do, we will install the agent software, that is your Cortex XDR agent software. We will install it on the endpoint. Each endpoint, we need to install it. Once we do that, we'll be able to then send policies, profiles, which will have protection modules, that is your exploit protection modules, malware protection modules. All these things has to be configured, and we can push these profiles from our management console to all our endpoints. Okay, if we do that, our endpoints will be secure. So if any malicious activity is happening, any malwares, any exploits are trying to be opened, any files, unwanted files are being trying to be opened on the endpoints, that will be stopped by the agent software. Okay, it is going to provide the security. Okay, so we will talk about the agents, how to install the agents. First, how to create the installation packages on our management console. Then how do we install this package onto the endpoints? Then once we install, what is it that we can get? Okay, what are the different profiles that we can configure? And yeah, everything about the agents, we'll talk about that. Okay, and also we have something called collectors, XDR collectors. Okay, why are collectors used? Now, if I want to collect logs from any of the devices, okay, let's assume on some endpoints we don't have the agent software, but I still want the logs from my devices. What do? I can install the collectors. Okay, so collectors, they will collect special type of logs and send it to my management console. Okay, so we'll talk about XDR collectors as well. So those are the different things we are going to cover in module number 2. Okay, so day 1 today we'll be covering these 3 modules. Okay, so that will be the theory part, and then in the afternoon we'll try to cover the labs as well. Okay, so day 2 tomorrow we'll start with integrations. Okay, now integrations means our Cortex XDR will be receiving logs from the agent side. Okay, so whatever agent software we have installed on the endpoints, they will be collecting logs from the endpoints and sending the logs to my Cortex XDR. Okay, now our XDR can receive logs from other sources as well. Okay, so if we integrate other sources, we'll get logs from there as well. For example, if we are integrating the Palo Alto Networks next generation firewall, we'll get logs from that. Or let's assume any third-party firewalls, any Cisco firewall, Checkpoint, we can get logs from any of these firewalls. Okay, or we are using any other third-party security tools. Okay, now since you all are working in security, you will know there are multiple tools. For example, you have a Sentinel-1, you have CrowdStrike. Okay, so multiple other tools are also there, from where we can receive the logs. Okay, now if I want to receive logs from these sources, I need to integrate them. Okay, so we'll talk about that. So API ingestion is one of the very common methods using which we can integrate any external sources to my Cortex XDR. Okay, so we'll try to understand how API ingestion works. So what is the process in that API ingestion? So we'll talk about that. Then we'll talk about your NGFW, next generation firewall. So if you are, how do we configure your NGFW with our Cortex XDR so that it can receive logs from NGFW? Okay. Then we'll talk about broker VM. Now, broker VM is a very useful concept. Okay, so it will help us to send the logs from my endpoint devices to my Cortex XDR in a secure way. Okay, so it will act like a bridge. It will act like a proxy, your broker VM. Okay, so for example, let's say my endpoints should not be connected to the internet due to some security reason. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll put the broker VM in between so that it can collect all the logs from on-prem. Okay, and then easily it will be connected to Cortex XDR. It will be sending the logs to my Cortex XDR. Okay, so we'll talk about broker VM, how to install your broker VM. So that we'll try to understand. Okay, and also we'll try to understand cloud identity engine. Okay, now few of you, I think you would have worked in the firewalls. So if you have worked in next generation firewall, Palo Alto Networks next generation firewall, you will know the concept of user ID. So if you want to know who is the user who's sitting behind the IP address, you will have the software of user ID. Okay. Similarly, here in your Cortex XDR, we have the cloud identity engine, where if I want to know who are the users sitting on the IP address, who are generating traffic, I will be using cloud identity engine. Okay. So how to integrate that? That also will cover in module number 3. Okay. So these are the topics in module number 3. Then in module number 4, it's about XQL. Okay. Now XQL stands for Cortex Query Language. Okay, Cortex query language. So you would have heard about SQL. Okay, so this is nothing but a replacement of SQL. Now in database management, you will know SQL, structured query language. Okay, similarly here we are going to use SQL. Okay, so SQL will try to understand why SQL is used in the first place. So what is the requirement of using SQL? Okay, now our database, that is a Cortex XDR database, will receive logs from multiple sources. Yes, it will receive the logs from Cortex XDR endpoints. Okay, that is the basic logs. And since we are integrating multiple sources, we'll get logs from, let's say, firewall. We'll get logs from some external third-party tools. Okay, we'll receive logs from your collector. We'll receive logs from your syslog. Okay, so multiple sources may be sending logs to my Cortex XDR. Okay, now if I want to read those logs, if I want to view those entries, how do I do that? So for that, we will be using SQL in our Cortex XDR. Okay, so very simple language. Okay, so we'll try to understand what are the components that are used in SQL. So we have functions, we have operators, and the most important component called stages. Okay, so we'll try to learn what are the types of stages and what these stages do. Okay, in a very basic way, we'll try to learn how SQL works. Okay, so how do we generate a query? If, let's say, I want to view some information from the database, how to write the queries and how to generate the information. We'll try to understand that. Okay, and other than that, we have a few more concepts like your parsing. How do we parse the information? And then what are the type of storages available in Cortex XDR? Okay, so all these concepts we'll cover in module number 4. Then module number 5 is about detection engineering. Okay, so detection engineering is nothing but how do we detect events in my Cortex XDR? And for that, we need to write rules. Okay, so the main two rules are your IOC rules and BIOC rules. So if you have already worked in security systems, you will know right about IOC and BIOC. IOC stands for indicators of compromise. BIOC stands for behavioral indicators of compromise. Okay, so we will try to understand why we need to write IOC rules, BIOC rules. So IOC rules is for any simple threats, okay, simple known threats, like simple malwares are there. I want to know about them. I want to know whether they are detected or not anywhere. I'll write IOC rules and identify them. BIOC rules I will write for complex threats. Okay, any behavioral patterns are changing, any complex malwares are being there. Okay, and I want to identify them, I want to detect them, then I will write BIOC rules. Okay, so we will see in our Cortex XDR how to write these rules, how to implement these rules. Okay, and also we have one special type of rule called correlation rules. Now, correlation rules will use whenever, let's say, we are checking two different data sets. Okay, we are identifying from multiple data sets. We'll be writing correlation rules. Okay, so how do we write the correlation rule? What are the configurations required for that? That also we'll cover in this module. And also we'll have an overview of issues. Okay, now issues are nothing but alerts. So initially we used to call it as alerts. Now we call it as issues. So we'll see an overview about that as well. Okay, so these are the 3 modules we'll be covering on day 2. Okay, then the last day, day 3, we'll keep it very light. Since it is the last day of the course, we'll keep it very light. Okay, so first module number 6 is about system optimization. Okay, so we'll see how do we make use of the SI tool. Now, so SI tool is nothing but a CLI, okay, command line interface tool of your agent side. So on the agent side, once we install the agent software, yes, we'll get a agent console. Okay, also we will get a CLI tool. That is nothing but your SI tool. Okay, so SI tool, we can use it for multiple operations. Okay, for example, let's say I want to view the databases, whatever databases are being created on the agent side. So if I want to view those databases, I can do that. Okay, or I want to stop the agent from running, I want to run the agent again. Okay, and then multiple operations. I can do it using the CI tool, CLI tool available on the agent side. So we will explore that. Okay. Then we'll try to understand how do we generate the support files. Now let's say I'm facing some issues. The agent, once I have installed the agent, but it's not working properly, it's not communicating properly, and I want to create a case for that. Okay, I need to communicate to the support team and tell them that, hey, the software is not working properly, or the communication is not happening, the updates are not happening, whatever the issue may be. Okay, I will go and communicate to my support team, Palo Alto Networks Cortex support team. Okay, now if I do that, they will ask me for the support file. They'll say, hey, okay, you generate the tech support file and you give me the tech support file. So I will generate that. Okay. So we'll say what are the different ways to generate the tech support file, both from your management side, management console side, as well as your agent side. Okay. So we'll try to understand that. Then we'll talk about exceptions and exclusions. Okay, so what are exclusions and what are exceptions? That also will cover. Right? So exclusion means, let's assume I don't want to continuously receive the alerts. I don't want to receive the issues. Then I'll be creating exclusions for that. I just want to reduce the noise. Okay, so multiple false positives are coming on as issues, and I don't want those issues. I will be creating exclusions for that. Now, if I do exclusions, if I create exclusions, it will be having the protection, right? So whatever malware protection is there, whatever exploit protections are there, they will be in place, but I'm just not receiving any alerts for that. Okay, so that will be about exclusions. Then we'll talk about exceptions as well. Exceptions is nothing but I will not require the protection also. Okay, I will disable the protection also, and due to that the alerts are also not going to come. Okay, so we'll talk about exclusions and exceptions, and also the global exceptions. So for the whole for all the agents, I don't want any protection, I can configure global exceptions as well. Right, so all these topics we'll be covering in module number 6. And the last module of our course will be about dashboards and reports. Okay, so dashboard and reports, we'll see how to generate the dashboard or how to view the dashboard. Okay, we have an option of dashboard manager. So if I want to customize my dashboard, if I want to add few widgets in my dashboard, I can use that. And also we'll see how to make use of the reports, how to generate the reports in my Cortex XDR. Okay, what are the different ways? And we have something called SQL widgets. Okay, so if I want to generate my own widget, how do I do that? So that also will cover, right? So very basic module, how to check the dashboards and reports, that will be in module number 7. Okay, so these are the 7 modules we'll be covering in these 3 days. Okay, so I hope everything good with that. Okay, so let's move ahead. Yeah, so now once we complete the course, what are the objectives? That is, what are the different things we should be able to do once we complete the course? Okay, so we should develop a foundational understanding of XDR. Okay, so basic things about XDR, how XDR works, the basic understanding we should have. What are the roles of processors, affiliates, and critical elements? Okay, what are the different capabilities of a SOC? So as a SOC, what are the different things we can do, what are our capabilities? We should know about the XDR agent deployment. So fundamentals of agent deployment, okay, fundamentals of data passing as well as your SQL, how that works, importance of tailored dashboards for your SOC analysts, okay, and the foundational understanding of your security analytics. Okay, so these are the different things we should be able to do once we complete this course. Okay, these are our learning objectives. Next is your lab topology. Okay, now in lab, you will have access to your Cortex XDR management console. This is nothing but your Cortex XDR, Cortex XDR management console. Okay, so we'll have access to it. And we'll also have access to the endpoint. Okay, in endpoint, you'll have all these things. So you'll be having access to this one, your desktop. Okay, where you will be installing the agent. So this is where you will be installing the agent software. Okay, and then you will be sending logs to your Cortex XDR. Okay, so when I give you the lab pod, and when you do the lab, you'll have a better understanding. Okay, so how the logs are being sent to my Cortex XDR, how to do endpoint management, all those things we'll be doing in the lab. Okay. Now, very important. Okay. Now, if you have worked with Cortex XDR or any other endpoint tool, the old terminology used were incidents, alerts, and insights. Okay. But now we are using the new terminology associated with Cortex XDR product. Now, what are the new terminologies? Instead of incidents, we are going to call it as cases. Okay. So incidents, we are going to call it as cases. Alerts, we are going to call it as issues. Okay. And insights, we are going to call it as findings. Okay. Now, incidents are nothing but your containers available in the Cortex XDR, which has multiple similar issues. Okay. So multiple issues combined together in one container, we used to call it as incidents. Now we are going to call it as cases. Okay. Now alerts are nothing but, let's say we have the endpoints. Any event is detected, any anomalies are detected, any malicious content is detected. Immediately that is sent as alerts to my Cortex XDR. Okay. So those are sent as events to my Cortex XDR. So those were called as alerts. Now it is called as issues. Okay, and insights, whatever information we are getting from that, your issues and cases, used to call it as insights. Now it is called as findings, right? So still we are calling it as insights only, but yeah, the new terminology is findings. Okay, so remember in our training, if I say cases or if I say incidents, both are the same. Okay, and if I say issues, alerts, both are the same. Okay, so don't get confused, guys. Both are the same. So incidents and cases, it is the same meaning. Alerts and issues, it is the same meaning. Okay, so yeah, the few new terminologies that have been introduced. Yeah, and that's about it, guys. That is the end of module number 0, your introduction module. Any questions from now, from this? Yes, I can see 12 participants now. Awesome, very good. Yes, participants, any questions? If any questions, you can raise, or if all good, give me a thumbs up. If everything good, give me a thumbs up, please. Thank you, Sumadhi. Thank you. Thank you, Sugyan, too. Thank you, thank you, Doug. Awesome. Thank you, Kim. Okay. Excellent, guys. Okay, thank you. Many thumbs ups are coming. Okay, so I hope everyone is able to understand. So at any point of time, if you're facing any difficulty, let's say you feel I'm going very fast, please do let me know. Okay, so I'll try to slow it down. Okay, so yeah, so module number 0 done. Now, before starting module number 1, I will provide you the lab information. Okay, and I'll also show you how to access the lab. Okay, so just give me a moment. So yeah, let me provide you that in the chat box. So this will be your lab URL. Okay. So I have given the lab URL in the chat box, guys. So please click on it and check if it is accessible. And I will also provide you the user details. Yeah. So these all will be your usernames. Once you click on the URL, it will ask you for a username and password. So I have provided you with the usernames, and also I will provide you with the password. So password, it will be a common one. So this will be your password. Okay, so just copy paste this password, and then I also will give you the lab guide. Okay, so lab guide, you can download it from this link. Yeah, so you can either download it from this link, or let me also send you a file, so that if you want to download it from your file, you can do that. Yeah. Yes, I have sent you the file as well. It will come to you in seconds. Yeah, you'll have got the file as well. You want to download this file, that also you can. So both, either use the link or your file. Okay. Now, how do we access this lab? Now, let me show you. Again, I'll share my screen. Just a moment. Yeah. Now, once you click on the link, you will get this page. Okay. It will say, hey, welcome. Please enter your credentials. Okay. Now, you need to use the credentials from user. Okay. Start from user. For example, let's say for Sumardi. Okay. So Sumardi, the username is user32198. Okay. So that is your username. Then the password, I have given you the password, right? So 6/= WEC#D. That will be your password. Okay. So write down your username, write down your password, and click on login. Once you click on login, it will take you into the lab. Okay. So it will take you to lab environment, and this is how it will look like. Okay. So on the right hand side, you will have the instructions part. Okay. You can read that. Okay. Then on the left hand side, you will have this connect button. Okay. So just click on this connect, and also you have the maximize option. So click on maximize. It'll become full screen. Okay. Once it takes you to the lab environment, this is how it will look like. Okay. This is your desktop lab environment. Okay. Now this is like your endpoint. So you have access to one of the endpoints. This Windows system is one of your endpoints. Okay. Now you'll have a symbol called Cortex. Okay. So just double click on that Cortex. It will give you access to your management console. Okay. So now from here, you will be able to configure multiple things. So this is your management console. Okay. Now, what are the different things we are going to do in this? We'll explore as we go through the modules. Okay. But yeah, this is the basic thing about how you can access your lab. Okay. So I hope everything is good with this. Okay. Then about your lab guide, how do you access the lab guide? Let me open the lab guide. Yeah. So this will be your lab guide. Once you start from the top, it'll give you the table of contents and how to use this lab guide. Okay. Then let's say we'll go into lab number 1. Okay. Just follow the lab steps. Okay. So everything is self-explanatory. You don't have to think about anything. Whatever you need to do, everything will be discussed here. Everything will be explained here in detail. Okay. Now, one very important thing I wanted to tell you is, now this lab, whatever lab we are using, okay, so this management console which you are using, it is a shared one. Okay, all of us are going to use the same management console. So it is very important that you know your user ID. Okay, now in your lab name, whatever username I have given, the username is user hyphen followed by 5 numbers. Okay, so 32185, 32186, those are nothing but your lab pod number. So in your lab guide, let me show you. In multiple places, it will ask you, it will have this 5x, okay, xxxxx. Okay, now instead of this x, you need to put your number. That is, for example, Sumardi should put 32198. Okay, Irfan will put 32189. Like that, you have your own 5 numbers, which is mentioned in the lab, in the username. So use those 5 numbers instead of this x, wherever in your lab guide, this xxxxx, 5x is mentioned. Okay. In all those places, you need to put your own lab numbers. Okay. So yeah, don't put x, but give your own numbers. That is your lab pod number, student number. That is nothing but your student number. Okay. So yeah, but this labs, we'll do it in the afternoon. If you have any doubts that time, please let me know. Okay. So yeah. Any questions till now regarding the lab? Any questions? No? Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the thumbs up. Okay. So the first module, sorry, not the first module, module number 0. completed. Okay. Now, before starting, where do we find the pod number? Irfan, your pod number I have mentioned in the chat box. Okay. The username I have mentioned, right? So your username is user hyphen 32189. So your pod number is 32189. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So, okay, guys, so before starting module number one, let's take a small break. Okay, let's take a small coffee break of 10 minutes. I hope 10 minutes will be good. Okay. After 10 minutes, we'll come back and start module number one. Okay, so please have some water, have some coffee, and then we'll get started with module number one. I'll put the timer for you guys so that you can follow. Okay. Okay, guys, so we'll see you in 10 minutes. Thank you. Hey guys, I hope you all are back from uh, right? So click on that and then try to connect it back. Maybe you'll be able to connect, or if not getting connected, not a problem. We'll sort it out this later. Okay. So because we are going to do the labs after the lunch break only, so we'll sort this out later. Not a problem. Okay. And if still it is not getting connected, I'll personally check your lab pod. Okay. I'll try to give you another pod, which should work fine. Okay. So don't worry. I'll check that. Okay. But we'll sort this out later. Not a problem. Okay. Don't worry. Okay, guys. So we'll get started with the first module. Okay. Shall we start? Everyone ready? I hope everyone is settled down. If we can start, give me a thumbs up. Thank you. Okay. So multiple thumbs ups coming in. Okay, guys. Thank you. Thank you, guys. So we'll get started. Just give me a moment. To view my screen, and I hope okay. So let's get started. So this is module number 1 of our course, which is about an overview of Cortex XDR. Okay, so again, this is a very introduction type of module. Okay, where we'll discuss about the overview of XDR. Okay, we'll talk about the architecture, is or what is XDR in what is XDR? Okay, XDR is nothing but it stands for extended detection tool. So and um, uh, huh. Okay. Now there are two main components in your XDR. One is your management console. Okay. Another one is your agent software. Now, what is meant by management console? It is nothing but a console which is going to be provided to you by Palo Alto so that you can manage everything. Okay. Now this management console, let me draw that. Let's say this is your management console. Yeah. Now this management console will be spun up in GCP. Okay. In your Google Cloud. and Palo Alto Networks will be providing you with access to this management console. Now this is called as management console. Oh, sorry, console. Or, or you want to call it as tenant. It is the same thing. Okay. Oh, sorry, tenant. Or you want to call it as an instance. All mean the same thing. Okay, so you can call it as either management console, or you can call it as a tenant, or you can call it as an instance. Okay, so everything is same. Okay, now this is nothing but a console which is spun up in GCP, okay, Google Cloud, and Palo Alto Networks is going to provide this to you. Okay, so this is spun up in the GCP. Okay, and as an analyst or XDR engineer, you will have access to this management console or tenant or instance. Okay, so this is one of the main components. Now this is where you will be configuring everything. So your policy details, your profiles, your endpoint management, okay, and you will be able to view the cases, you will be able to view your issues, okay, you will be doing SQL query, whatever response actions you want to perform, everything you are going to access this one, and you will be performing all the actions. Okay, so this is one of the components. Okay, now another component is your agent software. Now where do we have this agent software? Now you will have multiple endpoints. Let's say these are all endpoints. I'll change the color for this. Yeah, I'll copy paste this itself. That I don't need. This I don't need. I want this one. Ah, okay. Yeah, let's assume we have multiple endpoints. So this is my office, and in my office there are multiple systems. Okay, so these are all the different systems available in my office. Okay, now these are nothing but your endpoints. I'll drag the screen little. Yeah, so all these are my endpoints. Okay, endpoints are nothing but the systems which are there in my environment, which has IP address, and I have to safeguard all those endpoints. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I will create the agent software via my management console. Okay, that is my installation packages. So those installation packages I will create via my management console and install those agent softwares. So these are all the agent softwares. Install it in all my endpoints. Okay, so I will install the agent software in all my endpoints. Now, after I install the agent software, what it's going to do, it is going to inject the malware protection modules and your exploit protection modules. Okay, now these protection modules are nothing but again your profiles which will identify for the anomalies. Any anomalies uh, are trying to come and run on your endpoints, it will be stopped. Okay, so any anomalies, any malwares, any exploits, if they are trying to run, they will be identified and they will be detected and they will be prevented from running in your endpoints. So that is the job of the agent software inside your endpoints. Okay, now how both are going to communicate? Now this agent software, whenever they are detecting anything, okay, now first thing what you have to do is in your management console, you need to configure the profiles. Okay, now what are the different profiles? So we have something called agent settings profile. Agent settings, that is how these agents should work. Okay, so agent settings, so what is the bandwidth you can give, what is the memory you can give for the logs, how the agent console should look like, your agent settings profile. Okay, then you have something called malware protection profile. malware protection, then you have exploit protection. Okay, then you have restrictions profile. Okay, then you have the exceptions profile. Okay, now these are all nothing but your profiles. So we need to configure these profiles. That is the agent settings profile, malware protection profile, exploit protection profile. Okay, so protection. Yeah, so these profiles has to be configured. And once we configure these profiles, they have to be put into policies. They have to be put into policies. So everything will be combined and put into a policy rule. Then this policy rule, we have to push it to all the agents. Okay, we'll be pushing it to all the agent side. Now, what are these profiles? Now, agent settings is nothing but, as I said, how the agent should be. Okay, so regarding their updates, okay, then how much memory should be there for the logs. Then also, what is the license? If you have a pro license, you need to enable that. If you have any host insights, we need to enable that. Any add-ons, that is, any add-ons are there, we need to enable that. Okay, so all these things, how the agent should be, that will be your agent settings profile. Malware protection profile, it will have all the malware protection modules. Okay, it will detect for any malwares and prevent those malwares. Exploit protection, it will detect any exploits from happening in your agent side, that is in your endpoint side, and block all those exploits. Okay, restrictions means, now restrictions profile is nothing but, let's say you want to restrict any user from accessing something. For example, you may have a very sensitive folder on your endpoint side, on all the endpoint side. For example, I don't want office people who are sitting in the endpoints, they should not be able to execute anything from the downloads folder. Okay, now what people do, they will download the softwares. Okay, whatever applications they are trying to download, they will download it and they will try to run it. Okay, now anything is there in the downloads folder, I don't want the people or employees to run it from the downloads folder. Okay, so I can do that restriction. Okay, or I don't want them to access any files, any sensitive files are there on the endpoints. I don't want the employees to work from the endpoints and access those sensitive files. I can do a restriction. Or I don't want them to run any USB, any optical drives. Okay, any of those drives should not be used. I can provide restrictions for that. Okay, that is nothing but that can be done using your restrictions profile. Then also you have something called exceptions profile. Now exceptions, that means some exception should be there. Let's say some folders agent should not check. Okay, so the protection should not be there. It should not check the folder, or any process is there, any application is there which should not be checked by the software, agent software. Then I can create exceptions for that. Okay, so like this, I have 5 profiles which I can create on my management console, and then these profiles are binded together into my policy. Okay, and this policy rule, I am going to push it to my agents. Once my agent receives the policies, it will be acting according to whatever settings you have sent. Okay, now any anomalies are identified here, automatically these profiles which were sent, it will kick in, block those anomalies. Okay, any of the event has been occurring, let's say any malware was detected here and it was prevented. Okay, immediately it is going to send to my management console as issues. Now these are nothing but your issues, or you can call it as alerts. So when does the alert get generated? Whenever any anomaly is detected on the agent endpoint. Okay, it is detected, it is prevented, those are sent as alerts to my management console saying that, hey, one malware got detected here. Okay, now there are 2 types of licenses, mainly 2 types. Okay, one is prevent license. One is prevent license, another one is pro license. Okay. Now what happens when you have the prevent license? Now, if you're getting XDR, okay, let's say you are going to Palo Alto Networks and getting this XDR solutions for you, for your company. Okay. By default, you will get the prevent license. That is the basic license. By default, you will get that. Okay. Now, what happens when you have just the prevent license? That means whenever your endpoints are identifying any anomalies, any malware, any exploits are being identified, immediately those are sent as issues to my management console. Okay, so that will happen. All the protection, all the detection, all the prevention, everything is going to be available for you. Okay, now what is the advantage of having a pro license? Now, if you want to pro license, you need to pay some money extra money has to be paid, and you will get a pro license. Let's assume I have the pro license. Now what happens? If I have pro license for all my endpoints, what it'll do is it will also collect all the logs, whatever events are happening on my agent side, on my endpoint. That means whatever files and folders are being accessed, okay, whatever process, whatever application is being run, everything is monitored and all the logs are being sent to my management console every 5 minutes. And that logs are called as enhanced endpoint data. Okay, it is called as enhanced endpoint data, which is not there in your prevent license. Prevent license, your enhanced endpoint data is not sent. Only your issues, that is your alerts, whatever anomalies are identified, whatever events are being identified, only those are sent. Okay, but if you also have a pro license, you will get the option of enhanced endpoint data. That means all the events happening on your endpoints, whatever the user is using, whatever the user is doing, whatever files are being run, whatever applications are being run, whatever folders are being accessed, everything, all the logs are collected as enhanced endpoint data and it is being sent to your management console. Okay, now in your management console, it will have all this large amount of information about what is happening on the endpoint side. Okay, now any anomalies detected, it will have a complete picture of whatever is going on the endpoint side. Okay, and it'll create a story. We call it as log stitching. Okay, so all the logs are stitched together and you will be able to now understand the whole process. Okay, so what was the parent process, what was the child process, who opened what, when, at what point of instance was the anomaly detected. The whole story will be available with your management console. Okay, but you need to have the pro license for that. Now, there are different types of other licenses as well. So you have Pro per TB, that is if you want to have more number of storage, again, depending on your environment. So if you have more number of endpoints and then you have logs coming in from multiple sources, let's say you are using an NGFW. Now here you can also have NGFW, okay, NGFW, and you can get the logs from your NGFW as well. Okay, now you may have, for example, let's say another firewall. You may have logs from that firewall as well to my Cortex XDR. Okay, now you may use any third-party source, any third-party tool you're using. Okay, and you want the logs from the third-party tool like your Sentinel-1, CrowdStrike, Falcon, whatever it may be. You are getting logs from your third party that also will be sent to my Cortex XDR. Okay, so I can have logs from multiple sources. Okay, now all the logs I can analyze and understand what is happening in my network. Okay, but the main purpose of your Cortex XDR is your endpoint management. That is, you need to safeguard all your endpoint devices. Okay, and so this is a basic introduction of what your XDR is. Okay, we'll try to understand everything in detail. What are the different elements? That is, what are the different components, about the ingestion, and then about how we can check the logs using SQL. Yeah, everything about XDR we are going to explore in the course, right? So this was just a basic understanding of how XDR works. So you'll have access to your management console where you will be doing everything, you will be managing everything, you will have access to everything, and from there you will be managing your endpoints as well. Okay, so I hope you get a basic idea about what Cortex XDR is. Now let's go back to the slides and try to learn all these things. Okay. Yeah. So first we'll have an overview of XDR. So what is the XDR? So name is derived from extended detection and response. So here the X, D and R. That is nothing but your XDR. So this is Cortex XDR, extended detection and response. Now XDR is an AI powered SOC platform, okay, which will help us to do rapid detection and response. Okay, then if I want to do threat hunting and threat intelligence, I can do that. And also our internal asset management. So what are the different assets we have in our network? How many endpoints are there? In how many endpoints the agents are installed? In how many endpoints agent is not installed? What are the logs generated in those endpoints, right? So everything, all the asset management as well as the asset management we can do using XDR. Okay, so we can perform any rapid detection and response. Any anomalies are there? Any malware behavior, any exploit behavior, all those things we can immediately detect it and we can block it. Okay, and also if we want to take any response actions, for example, let's say I want to isolate an endpoint, I can do that. Okay, I want to delete any file, I want to delete any folder or on the endpoints, I can do that. I want to create a live terminal, I can do that. I want to run a malware scan. Okay, so multiple response actions are available. We can perform all those actions. Okay, then I want to do any threat hunting, threat intelligence, I can do that. For example, let's say I get information from my friend who is working in another office. Okay, and that person tells me, my friend tells me that, hey, a new attack or a new malware has been there in the market. Okay, now I want to do that threat hunting in my office environment. I want to search, okay, is that malware or is that application, is that file available anywhere in one of my endpoints? I can perform the threat hunting. Okay, and also the threat intelligence, so I can gather intelligence. Okay, then as I said, internal asset management, right? So the SOC platform, which enables all these things, AI powered SOC platform, which enables to us to perform all these things, is your XDR. Okay, so XDR is built upon the Cortex platform. Now Cortex is like a pillar. It's like a a stream under parallel networks. So you have mainly two streams or two pillars, you can say. One is Strata, another one is Cortex. Okay, now Strata, it will deal with your network security. Okay, that is your firewall security. All those things will come under your Strata. Also, you had Prisma. Now everything will come under Strata only. So Prisma Access, if you have heard about it, that was another platform before, but now it is under your Strata only. Okay, so that is one platform. Another platform is your Cortex. Okay, now Cortex is where we deal with all the endpoints. So endpoint security is coming under Cortex. Okay, and there are multiple tools under Cortex as of now. So you have Cortex XDR, which is this one. Also we have XOR, then we have XIM. Okay, so multiple tools are there. As of now, we'll learn about XDR. Okay, so XDR is built upon the Cortex platform, which is integrating endpoint protection. So that is the important thing. We are going to perform the endpoint protection. Okay, and it has UABA capabilities. Now, UEBA capabilities is nothing but user and entity behavior analytics. Okay, now what this UABA is, it is nothing to but to provide advanced threat detection and automated response. Okay, now what this will do is, what our Cortex XDR will do is, it will keep on learning about the behaviors in our network. Okay, so what are the users doing, how they are accessing everything, and it will create a baseline of the behaviors, right? So it'll for example, it'll monitor for 2 weeks to 1 month. Now minimum at least 2 weeks. It'll ingest all the logs, okay, and try to understand what is the normal behavior happening on all the endpoints. Now if any abnormal behavior comes up, okay, now any user behaves abnormally or any abnormal activity happens, for example, usually what people will do, they will use the endpoints on the daytime, then evening they will go away. By night, nothing will happen. Okay, no endpoints will be accessed. Okay, now immediately one day, let's assume one of the users, they are in office, and at night, midnight, 2 o'clock, they are trying to download huge amount of data. Let's say 10 GB, 20 GB of data somebody is trying to download. Now that is a abnormal behavior, which usually does not happen, but it is happening now. That is abnormal. Okay, so that will be immediately detected and it will be generated. The issues will be generated. The alerts will be generated saying that, hey, some suspicious activity, some abnormal behavior is happening in your network, in your environment. Please check that. Okay, so it will automatically identify these things using your machine learning and your behavior analytics. So yeah, you have UEBA capabilities and then also your cloud and identity management. Just to identify who are all the users, we also use cloud and identity management. Okay, in order to elevate security operation centers to the next generation. Okay, so this is nothing but your XDR. Okay, next we'll see what is the purpose and how does the XDR work. Okay, now what is the main purpose of your Cortex XDR? So it is nothing but it enhances the threat detection and response. Okay, so all your threat detection and response is enhanced by using or leveraging broad visibility. Okay, now why do I say broad visibilities? The XDR is not only receiving the logs from your endpoints, that is your agent software, not only receiving from that, but also it can receive logs from multiple other sources. So if you have NGFW in your environment, you can get logs from that. Any other third-party tool is there, any security tool you are using along with this, you can ingest logs from that. Okay. Any other firewall, Cisco firewall, Checkpoint firewall, you can ingest logs from that, or any other log collectors. Okay, let's say syslog is there or any Windows event collector is there. You want to have logs from that, that also will be received. Okay, so all these logs are there and hence we will have a broad visibility. Okay, so having lots of logs will have broad visibility. So that we have, then we have advanced analytics. Okay, and also we have options to automate. That is, let's say any event is happening, whatever action I will take manually, I can automate it. For example, I want to again, in any malware is identified on the endpoint. Okay, I want to isolate the endpoint. What I need to do, I need to go and manually do the isolation. Instead of that, I can automate the process. XDR itself will do, okay, if this is happening, you isolate the endpoint. Okay, or you want to enable something else. You want to, let's say, enable any playbooks. Okay, you can do that. Okay, so automation is also there in order to improve the security effectiveness. Okay, so these are all the different ways how your Cortex XDR is going to work. Okay, so the Cortex XDR is able to detect and respond to threats more effectively than your traditional security solutions. Okay, this is the advanced one, and it's going to detect and respond to your threats more effectively. Okay, and it's going to provide broader visibility. As I said, it is going to receive logs from multiple sources. Okay, and hence it will have broader visibility. So if it has broader visibility, it can perform more accurate detection and then has automated capabilities. Okay, so collects and analyzes data from multiple sources, that also we discussed. So from the logs are coming from multiple places and we are going to collect everything, analyze them, uses machine learning and behavioral analytics, okay, to identify anomalies and malicious activities. Okay, so machine learning is there, which will help us to identify whatever anomalies are there on the environment and also what are the malicious activities. Okay, and whatever we want to automate, whatever actions we want to automate, we can do that. So automate investigation and response workflows to help the security teams quickly understand and contain threats. So if automation is there, whatever steps are there automatically will happen easily. It will help us to understand quickly. So speed is very important, right? So how soon we are identifying, how soon we are responding, how soon we are able to contain the threats. That is very important. And all those things very quickly can happen in your Cortex XDR. Okay, so that's your purpose and how your Cortex XDR works. Next, we'll come to the key benefits. Okay, so what are the key benefits available with respect to Cortex XDR? Now it has improved threat detection. Okay. Now when I say improved threat detection, what does it mean? Okay. So Cortex XDR improves the threat detection by correlating data from multiple sources. Okay, so it is getting logs from multiple sources. So Cortex XDR can identify threats that might be missed by other tools. So whatever other tools are there, they might miss it, but your Cortex XDR will definitely be able to catch those things. Why? Because we have logs from multiple sources. The visibility is very broad. So more intel, more easily it will be able to identify the threats. So yeah, improved threat detection. Then it has faster case response. Okay. Now, whenever any incident happens, whenever any issues are generated, okay, the speed is very important. The speed is very critical. Okay. So what Cortex XDR will do is it can accelerate case response by automating investigation and response workflows. Okay, so it'll do an automated investigation and response capabilities, which will help the security teams quickly understand what is the scope of the attack. Okay, and then what immediate action needs to be taken to contain it. Okay, and hence it's going to minimize the potential damage. So reducing the impact of security cases can be done by your Cortex XDR. Okay, then you have a reduced alert fatigue. Now what do you mean by reduced alert fatigue? Okay, now one of the uh, things which overwhelm all your analysts, okay, all the administrators, one thing which overwhelms them is the number of alerts. Okay, now a number of issues that are generated. So if more and more number of issues keeps on coming, we have to check everything. Okay. But here in Cortex XDR, what it does is it will focus only on your high fidelity issues. Okay. So it will reduce the alert fatigue. Okay. So we are going to focus only on high fidelity issues, because Cortex XDR helps security teams to prioritize and respond to the most critical threats only. Okay, so XDR will make sure the analysts spend time on the most critical threats rather than giving importance to some excessive noise. We are not going to be bothered about that. But what are the important ones? Which one we should prioritize? Cortex XDR will easily identify that and provide us the details. Okay, so reduce alert fatigue, that is again another key benefit. And then you have simplified security operations. Okay, now how does it do that? So what XDR will do is it will integrate data and workflows across your security layers. Okay, by doing that, Cortex XDR will streamline security operations and reduce the need for manual analysis. Okay, so that the security teams can operate more efficiently and hence improving the overall cybersecurity posture. Right? So these are the few key benefits that are there in Cortex XDR. Yeah, so that was an overview about Cortex XDR. Okay, next we'll try to understand the architecture. So how your Cortex XDR solution works in the whole scenario, how your Cortex XDR works. We'll try to understand. Yeah, so this is your Cortex solution architecture. Okay, now here you can have the next generation firewall. Let's say this is your on-premises firewall. Okay, you have the next generation firewall, which is safeguarding your network. So everything is there in the network. You have the endpoint systems, you have servers, you have campus, you may have broker VM. All these elements are there in your network, and at the perimeter, your next generation firewall is safeguarding everything. Okay. Now you may have branch offices where you cannot have a physical next generation firewall, so you cannot, you don't have much money, let's assume, to implement a next generation physical firewall for your branch office. For that, we will use Prism Access. Okay, or you have mobile users who keep on traveling. Okay, and I want to provide security for them. Again, we'll be using Prism Access for them. Okay, so this is for your branch offices where there is no next generation firewall at the perimeter, or for your users who are constantly traveling. Okay, so that will be safeguarded by your Prism Access. Okay, or you have the cloud. Okay, so cloud elements, for that again we can safeguard it via your next generation firewall. That is nothing but your VM series, virtualized form factor of your Next generation firewall is your VM series firewall. So you can use that. We can also install the agent. So you have a proper cloud. Okay, we have a license called proper cloud. Those those endpoint agent we can install in the cloud as well. Okay, so these are all the different different mechanisms via which we are going to safeguard all the entities. Okay, now all these things will be generating alerts, logs, and data. Okay, and everything will be received by the Cortex XDR data lake, or you can call it as Cortex data lake itself. Okay, or you can call it as the logging service. Okay, so all these are there in your logging service or data lake. Okay, and we will have Cortex XDR as one of the tenants. So tenants, again, nothing but your management console. Okay, or it can be XOR. So if you are going for higher more tools, you can also go for XOR. Okay, but all these logs are there in your data layer. Whatever logs are coming from your Prisma Access, your next generation firewall, from your VM series next generation firewall, all these logs, all this data is available in your data layer. Okay, now XDR will be able to leverage this Cortex data layer. That is your Cortex data lake. Okay, so it will have access to all these logs, all these alerts, all this data, and then it will have the information about what is happening at what location. Okay, so this is nothing but your regional tenant, where you also have the threat intel. Okay, now all these are managed by your managed threat hunting service, which is nothing but your unit 42. Okay, so they are the ones who are going to identify whatever new threats are there, whatever new signatures has to be created, and they are the ones who are going to update all your software content updates, your threat signatures, your uh, and virus signatures. Everything is managed by the unit 42. Okay, and also you have the wildfire service. Now wildfire is nothing but a cloud service, that is your sandboxing. Okay, so you do all the analysis part in your wildfire. For example, let's say you come across a new file which you have never seen. You have no idea about what the file is, whether it's a good file or a bad file, whether the application is a good one or bad one. What you can do, whenever new file is seen, it is automatically sent to the wildfire. Wildfire will do the analysis. That means it will do a static analysis, dynamic, and then bare metal. Multiple analysis happens, and if it's a malware, it will be able to easily detect that. Okay, so wildfire, if you want to know in a single sentence, very basic understanding about it is, it will convert a unknown attack into a known attack. Okay, that's the concept of wildfire. Okay, so you have access to wildfire as well. So yeah, so any new things are identified, any new malwares are identified, that is updated in the signatures. Okay, so this is how your whole solution works. And along with that, you have the Cortex XDR, which have access to the Cortex data lake where all the logs are there. And using those logs, we can understand what is happening in your network. Okay, so where this is our architecture where all the elements are there, and one of them is your Cortex XDR. Right. Now we'll talk about your Cortex XDR management console. Okay. Now console is nothing but the console which is being spun up in GCP by Palo Alto, and Palo Alto will provide us this access. And as administrators, we will be accessing our management console. Okay. Now, how do we access our management console? Now, let's assume I am running a company, and for my company, I will have one management console. Okay. Now, I may be having multiple customers. For example, I am dealing with multiple customers. Okay, and each of the customer have their own management console. So this may be management console one. Okay, I may have one more management console. Let's call it as management console two, and I also need to manage one more management console. Let's call it as management console three. Okay, so these are the three management console I will be managing. Now, how do I go to these management consoles? So either I can go directly to this one, or we have a pathway called gateway. So I will have access to something called gateway. So this is nothing but your XDR gateway. Okay. So again, Palo Alto will provide us the gateway details. I can go to gateway, and from my gateway, I can select to which management console I need to take access. Whether I want to go to this one, whether I want to take access to management console 2, or whether I want to take management access to management console 3. Okay. So gateway will act as a path to select my management console. Okay, so and also we have few other features for gateway. We'll explore these things. Okay, now the Cortex XDR gateway is used to activate, manage, and access your and establish authorization controls to all your Cortex XDR tenants. Okay, now first, if you want to have access to your tenants, that is Cortex XDR tenants, you must be a CSP user. That is your support portal user. The CSP stands for nothing but your support portal. Okay, so we need to be having access to the support portal. Only then we can access everything, whether it is the gateway or whether it is your management console, whatever it may be. We must be a CSP user. Okay, now there are different ways where we can access the management console. We can directly go to the management console using this one, right? So https subdomain.xdr.region.paloaltonetworks.com. Okay, now here, what is the subdomain? Subdomain, let's assume I'm running the company ABCD. Okay, my company name is ABCD. Now, while Palo Alto is activating your management console. Okay, so once when they are activating it in on your GCP, when this is spinning up, they will ask you, okay, Arun, what is your company name and what should be the subdomain name here? Okay, now I can select it. Okay, let's say I want to give the subdomain as ABCD. I can give that. Okay, they will say, okay, so subdomain name is ABCD, then .xdr, and then in which region you want to have this. Okay, now region depending on where my Cortex data lake is. Okay, now this may be, let's say, if I'm in Europe, I will give it as .eu. If I'm in USA, let's say I will give .us. If I'm in Australia, let's say I will give .au. If I'm in India, I will say .in. Okay, like this, depending on the region, I will tell you on which region this should be. For example, I'm in, let's say, Europe, right? So I will give this region as .eu. So Palo Alto will say, okay, .eu, then .paloaltonetworks.com. Okay, so all these other, so XDR, paloaltonetworks.com, those will remain constant. I need to mention what should be the subdomain and what should be the region. Okay, so subdomain and region are defined during tenant activation. So I need to tell Palo Alto, this should be the subdomain, this should be the region. Once they get it, they will then enable your tenant. Okay, now once they have configured this, they have spun this up in the GCP, they will provide this details. Okay, now I can directly go to my management console. Okay, if again I should be a CSP user, it's customer support portal user. Okay, CSP means customer support portal. I should have an account in CSP. Okay, if I have, I will be directly able to go to my management console. Or I can go to the Cortex gateway first. Okay, now Cortex gateway, we need to type this https over cortexgateway.paloaltonetworks.com. If I do that, it will give me all my options of multiple tenants. So I may have management console 1, so management console 2, management console 3. Okay, I may have access to multiple management consoles. Everything will be listed here in my gateway. Then I select this one, then I will be able to come to this one. Okay, then I will be able to access my management console. So that is another way. Or one more way is I can first log into my support portal. Okay, now support portal is where we are going to manage all our CSP users and what should be their authorization, what are the different things they should have access to. All authorization is done in your support portal only. Okay, so first I can go get access to my support portal. From my support portal, I can go to my Cortex gateway. Then from my gateway, I can access my management console. Okay, now this we'll see what are the different ways in the next module. In the software components module, we will explore more of this, right? So how do we go and access my management console? We'll see in the next module. Okay, but just this is the basic. Okay, yeah. Next, about detection and investigation. Now, to solve some of the SOC challenges for detection and investigation, all the customers can leverage your Cortex XDR. Okay. Now, Cortex is again nothing but a platform. Okay. So, platform where you have multiple tools. You have Cortex XDR, you have Cortex XOR, you have Cortex XIM, and all these are evolving continuously. Okay, so we'll be leveraging Cortex, under which you have Cortex XDR, one of the tools. Okay, so Cortex XDR will have access to the Cortex data layer, nothing but your data lake, where all the logs are there. So the logs will be there from your physical appliance firewalls, okay, from your agents, okay, from your VM series firewalls, from your Prisma access, and also any third-party logs are there. Everything can be ingested in your Cortex data layer. Okay, and Cortex XDR will have access to the Cortex data layer, where we can leverage all the logs, everything we can read and get the information. Okay, yeah. Next, we have broker VM. Now, what is broker VM? Let's assume we have installed the agents in my endpoints. Okay. Now, that is a scenario where, now, if I have installed the agents, what will happen? These agents will be sending logs to my Cortex XDR, right? That is a whole point. So we need to have the agents. Agents will be detecting events from events at the endpoints. They will be getting the enhanced endpoint data, continuous logs, and it has to be sent to my Cortex XDR. So that when I am accessing my Cortex XDR, I will be able to check everything. That is the main point. Okay. But in some scenarios, the XDR agents or the systems in your network should not, let's assume, connect to the internet. Okay. Now, how do they send the logs to my Cortex XDR? In those scenarios, we can have something called broker VM. Okay. Now, broker VM, we need to install it on-prem. Okay. And broker VM is the one which is going to collect all the logs, whether it is the logs from the agents, any Windows event forwarder, database, third-party firewalls, whatever it may be. Okay. So logs from this are sent to my broker VM. From a broker VM, the logs will be forwarded to my Cortex XDR. Okay. So the broker VM, it's going to act as a bridge. Okay, it will act as a bridge, or you can call it also as a proxy. It is going to act as a proxy between my on-prem elements and my Cortex XDR. Okay, so broker VM is nothing but a dedicated platform for data collection. So all the on-prem data are being collected by the broker VM, then sent to my Cortex XDR. So it will act as a conduit between your network and the Cortex XDR tenant, facilitating a secure connection that routes endpoint agent data as well as collecting and forwarding logs and files, whatever is there on my on-prem. Everything Cortex, the broker VM will collect and send it to my Cortex XDR. Okay. Now more on broker VM. Okay, what is the process to activate your broker VM? How to bind it with my Cortex XDR? How to bind with the endpoints? How to configure the endpoints to forward the logs to broker VM? All these things we'll cover tomorrow. In the ingestion module, we'll see how to configure this broker VM. Okay, so that is one important component. Then you have the malware protection modules. Okay, now what are these malware protection modules? Now this is what we are going to inject on the endpoint side. Okay, so we will be configuring your malware profiles. Okay, and these profiles will be pushing to the endpoints. Once this malware protection profile is pushed to the endpoint, how it is going to safeguard my endpoint? Okay, so what is the analysis that the protection modules will do? Now there are multiple protection modules, more than 15 protection modules are there. Everything, all these protection modules, it's going to continuously monitor your endpoint. Okay, now how that is done, we'll try to understand here. Okay, now let's say on my endpoint. So on my endpoint, I have the malware protection modules on my agent. So via the profiles, I have sent the protection modules. Okay, now my agent has this protection modules on my endpoint. Okay, now let's assume on my endpoint, I am trying to open an application. Okay, so some .exe file. I am opening some application. Immediately, my agent malware protection module will come and check this one. Okay, and see if there are any malicious child process coming out from this file. Okay, when I try to run this one, whether it is giving birth to any malicious child process or not. Okay, if it happens, immediately block it. Okay, now your protection happens in two phases. Okay, one is pre-execution analysis, another one is post-execution analysis monitoring. Okay, so now we are talking about pre-execution. What happens in pre-execution? Now, whenever at my endpoint, I am trying to run an application. I'm trying to run a .exe file. First thing the agent will check is this giving birth to any child process or not, any malicious child process or not? Okay. If yes, any malicious child process is trying to run from this one, immediately block it. I'm not going to allow this to run. Just block it. That's all. Okay. Or no, let's assume no malicious child process coming as of now. Then I'm going to check whether any restrictions are there for this file or not. Okay, whether this file is trying to be run from the downloads folder, okay, for which I have created a restriction. Again, I would have configured a restrictions profile and I would have pushed the restrictions profile to my endpoint. Okay, whether I have done that or not, whether this file is being run from any restricted folder, downloads folder or temp folder or users folder, whatever folder may be, or whether it is running from a pen drive which is restricted. Okay, it will check, the agent software will check whether it is being run from any restricted files and folders or not. If yes, I have restricted that, again it will not allow it to run. It is going to block it. Okay, let's say no, it is not from any restricted folder, it can run. I have not configured any restrictions profile for that, so it can run. Okay, well and good. Then it's going to go and check the wildfire. Now, what is wildfire lookup is the whole database, right? So whatever database we have, whatever updates, content updates we have, everything, all the signatures, it is going to check. And what it's going to check is this file already known or not? Is this application already known or not? Okay. Have I seen this already or not? If I have seen this, what was the verdict of this? What was the verdict of this application? Whether it was good or bad. Okay, it will be there in the updates in your updates in your database, in your signatures. It will be there. It will be matching. Okay, let's assume before itself this was identified as a bad file. It was identified as a malicious file. So what it'll do again, it's going to block it immediately, saying that hey, we already know this file, we already know this application, it's a bad one, we want to block it. So block that file. Or in some scenarios, this is a new file, okay, or new application which is not known in our database. So we don't have information about it. Now what do? It's an unknown file. Okay. Now, if it's an unknown file and it is being opened for the first time, then immediately it is going to be uploaded to the wildfire cloud. Okay, so what does the wildfire cloud do? Again, in very simple terms, it is going to convert any unknown attack to a known attack. Okay, unknown file to a known file. That is the main job of wildfire. Okay, so any unknown file we are seeing, immediately it is sent to the wildfire cloud saying that hey, you do the analysis on this file and you check whether it's a good file or bad file. Okay, now in the wildfire, it's nothing but a sandboxing environment where you do the analysis. Now, mainly three types of analysis happens. Okay, one is static, then you have dynamic, and then also you have the bare metal. Okay, so static means just checking the features of the file. Okay, it'll try to identify whether it's a good file or bad file. Okay, if it's not able to do that, then you have the dynamic analysis. In dynamic analysis, what it'll do is it'll run the file in some VMs, okay, and try to detonate it. Okay, if it is being undetected there also in your virtual machines also it is being undetected, and then finally it will also do the bare metal analysis. Okay, now bare metal analysis, it's a very costly one, but yeah, Palo Alto provides that analysis as well. Okay, now it is nothing but detonating the file in some real-time environments. Okay, so the file will be put in some real-time environments, and there definitely, if let's say it's a malware, definitely it's going to detonate. Okay, if it detonates, now the wildfire knows, okay, it's a bad file. So it is the verdict is malware for it. Okay, now we know what it is. Now it has become a known file. And once the verdict is generated, immediately it will be sent that, hey, it's a malware. Don't let this file open. Okay, now this one, it can happen in our office. Let's say this file was seen for the first time in our office, or it may happen anywhere around the world. Okay, wherever any unknown file is tried to be opened, okay, nobody knows about it, immediately send it to the wildfire. The wildfire will do the analysis, identify it as a malware, generate the signature, send it back. And this signature is updated to everyone around the world. Okay. Now everybody knows that it's a malware. Now now let's say it was opened yesterday in some office in USA. Now I am trying to open that. Now already it will be there in my database and it will say that, hey, this is a bad file. Don't open it. You block it. Okay, so I'm going to get the signature from all around the world using wildfire. So wildfire is going to detect it wherever it may be. If it's unknown, it becomes a known one now. Okay, so I will get the verdict that, hey, it's a bad file, and I'm going to block it. Okay, now sometimes what happens is this process, okay, going to the wildfire, getting the verdict, receiving back the verdict, this may take some time. Okay, let's say 20 seconds or half a minute, some time may happen. Okay, and during that time I cannot just stop this execution. Okay, so I need to allow this execution. Okay, so what I need to do, I will do a local analysis. So agent will do a local analysis that itself. Okay, now what do you mean by local analysis is it will check in the history. Okay, that is in the history whether any similar files were seen or not. Okay, whether any file like this one was already opened, and if it was done, what were the verdict for it? What was the verdict? Whether if they were seen as good files or bad files. We'll do a local analysis depending on the history, depending on whatever sample size we have, whatever files were opened before. Based on that, agent itself will do a local analysis. Now, if the local analysis, if it feels that, okay, previously also these type of files were trying to be open, these applications were trying to open, and it was bad, it will automatically decide, okay, this also will be bad, and it is going to block it. Okay. Or no, the local analysis thinks, okay, similar files were seen before, and they were all deemed to be good file only. They seem to be good only. Let that means this also will be good only. Okay. So the local analysis will say the file is a good file. Okay. So if this takes time, you do a local analysis on the agent side itself and try to identify whether it's a good file or bad file. Let's assume the local analysis thought, okay, this is a good file only. Then it will send the file to the post execution monitoring. That means now the process is running. The application will run. Okay. So before the application starts, even all these process will happen in the post execution analysis. Sorry, pre-execution analysis. Okay. Now, after the process starts running, after the application starts running, even now the protection is not stopped. Okay. The agent is going to continuously monitor this process via all these protection modules. Okay, now here only 3 modules are mentioned, like network packet inspection, ransomware protection, behavioral threat protection. All these are nothing but your protection modules. Okay, so these protection modules, not only 3, there are, I think, around 14 protection modules. Okay, so all the 14 protection modules will continuously keep monitoring the process. Oh, sorry, it will continuously keep monitoring the process, check whether it is showing any malicious behavior or not. Okay, whether any unwanted anomalies are being identified or not. It is continually going to monitor as the application or as the process keeps on running. Okay, and if any unwanted anomalies are identified, if any malware behavior is identified, it is going to immediately stop the process. Okay, it is going to kill the process, dump the memory. Okay, so these protection modules will be continuously monitoring what is happening to the process, what is happening to the application, even as the process is running. Okay, if no anomalies, well and good, let the process run. If any anomalies, any malwares, you immediately stop it. Okay, so that's what is happening in post execution. Even after the process has started running, the agent protection modules will continuously monitor that for any unwanted anomalies. Okay, so this is your malware protection modules, which is configured in the profiles, pushed to the endpoints, and then you'll have the agent malware protection modules running, checking all these things. Okay, now one more protection module you have, which is nothing but your exploit protection module. Okay, now all the anomalies, what Palo Alto has done is they have classified into two types. One is either it can be malware or it can be exploit. Okay, now malware is more of a app based attack. Okay, more of a application based attack where the application itself is a malicious application. Okay, if that malicious application runs, you will be infected. Okay, so that will be coming under your malware. Exploit is more of a file based attack. Okay, more of a file based attack. So if you're, let's say, any file, any user is running a file, is opening a file, from the file any malicious content, let's say any malicious code is implemented. Okay, so such exploits happen. Now exploit as such is not an attack, but a doorway to an attack. Okay, let's say any issues are there with the codes, the code is written is not fine, and any vulnerabilities are there in those codes. Okay, those will be exploited by the attackers. Okay, now exploit is more of a file based attack. Okay, now what Palo Alto says is there may be multiple number of exploits. Okay, so every year thousands and lakhs of exploits are being identified. Okay, now if we try to go and identify the exploits, it is going to be very difficult. Okay, instead of that, what Palo Alto concentrates is it concentrates on exploitation techniques. So there are exploitation techniques which is going to exploit all the exploits. Okay, which is going to which is going to leverage all the exploits that are there. Okay, now exploits may be multiple, thousands, lakhs, multiple exploits may be there, but exploitation techniques are very less in number. Okay, and every year, let's say one or two exploitation techniques come out. Okay, now to give you an analogy. Okay, now let's say some thieves are there. Okay, and they want to steal something from houses. Okay, now you have a community, you have a let's say a city. Okay, now there are multiple homes, multiple houses are there where the thieves can go and steal the things. Okay, now these houses are nothing but like your exploits. Okay, but what are the techniques that the thieves are going to use? So they will be using certain techniques like breaking down the door, or breaking down the window, or let's say coming via the chimney. Okay, so there are techniques, okay, using which the thieves are going to steal the house. Okay, but only less number of techniques are there. If we are able to block those techniques, the exploits also will be blocked automatically. So that's what Palo Alto does. They are not bothered about the exploits, but they are bothered about the exploitation techniques. So you identify the techniques, you block these techniques alone. Exploits are automatically blocked. For example, let's say I want to open a PDF file. Okay. Now, when I open the PDF file, what will open, which application will run? So it will open the Adobe application. Okay. Now, as this is running, what my agent will do is it will cover this using your modules, that is your exploit protection module. So when a protected process is created, the Cortex XDR agent injects his EPM, that is your nothing but your exploit protection modules, into the process. Okay, now this is injected. Now my EPM will keep a eye on this, whether anybody is trying to open a exploitation technique or not, and try to run any malicious code or not. It will keep on checking. If anything, if any such acts happen, it's going to identify it and it's going to block it. Okay, so agent injects the code into the process. Okay, you continuously monitor using all these protection modules. If any unwanted techniques are happening, you identify them and you are going to stop it. Okay, so the Cortex XDR agent thread is initiated within the process. If an exploit attempt occurs, what the threat will do, it will block the technique. Okay, so identifying the technique is important. So if any technique happens, you block it, you terminate the process, and then you notify the admin. That is, you generate the issue, you generate the alert that, hey, the so and so technique was identified here. You note the administrator, possibly the user of the prevented attack, saying that so and so technique was identified, exploit protection technique. We identified it and we blocked it. Okay, so that's about your exploit prediction module. So you identify the exploitation technique and you block that technique. Exploits not required. Exploits will automatically be blocked if you identify the exploitation technique and block it. Okay, so that's about your exploitation techniques, guys. So that was few information about the architecture. Next, we'll talk about what are the features and functionalities. Now, little more theory and then we'll be completed. Okay. So what are the functions and functionalities? Sorry, what are the features and functionalities of Cortex XDR? Okay. So these are few elements that are there in your Cortex XDR. So XDR brings together multiple functionalities that work together in order to enhance threat detection, response, and overall security visibility. Okay. Now we have agents. Agents is the main component. So they are the ones who are which are going to be installed on the endpoint side, and they are going to detect any anomalies, identify them, and going to prevent them. And also generate the issues, generate the alerts, send it to our Cortex XDR management console. Okay. Then we have XDR collectors. Now, when do we go for XDR collectors? Okay. Now, let's say we have the agents on the endpoints. Okay. On the endpoints, we have the agents. Now, this agent, it will automatically monitor everything. It will identify the logs, send the logs to the XDR console. Okay. If you have the agents, everything will work. Everything is going to work very smoothly. Okay. Now let's assume I have 100 endpoints. Okay. 100 endpoints I have, but I have only 75 licenses. Okay. That is my Cortex XDR license, Prevent license or Pro license, whatever it is. I have only 75 licenses. Now on those 75 endpoints, I will install the agent. Okay, and automatically it's going to generate the logs, all the logs, send it to my management console. Okay, now what about the remaining 25 endpoints? So out of 100, I have installed the agent software in 75. But what about the remaining 25 endpoints? Let's assume I want the logs from those 25 endpoints as well, but I don't have the agent. Now what do? That's where your collector come into picture. Okay, now in these 25 endpoints, I can install the collector software. Okay, now this will not be detecting any malicious activity. It's not going to block any malware exploits. No, that is not the job of this. It is just going to collect the logs from these endpoints and send it to my Cortex XDR. Okay, not any prevention detection, no, but it's a separate software. Okay, like you have the agent software, this is also a software, collector software. If we install this on the endpoint, it's going to collect the logs. Now, what type of logs do we want? We can configure that. Okay, whether I want any Windows events logs, whether I want, let's say, any DHCP logs, what are the logs I want to collect from this, I can configure that. Okay, once done, the collector software is going to collect those logs from the endpoint and send it to my Cortex XDR. Okay, so these are nothing but collectors which collect dedicated logs from my devices. So I can make use of XDR collectors. Then I have also broker VM. Broker VM, as we discussed, it's nothing but a bridge. It's like a proxy between the endpoints and your Cortex XDR. Okay, so that we can use. And also we will have logs from multiple sources. Let's say any third-party tools are there, any third-party firewalls are there. We can ingest logs from many third-party tools as well. Okay, so this is your functionalities. Then what are the different core features of our Cortex XDR? So there are 5 core features. Okay, so one is your comprehensive data collection. So Cortex XDR just doesn't just look at one data source. Okay, so it integrates the data from your endpoints, from your networks, your cloud environments, your third-party sources. So multiple logs are there. So this will provide you broad visibility. Okay, as we already discussed. So if you have broad visibility, we can easily identify threats, right? So multi-vector threats, all those can be identified. So that is one of the core feature. Another core feature, behavioral analytics. Okay, so moving beyond your simple rule-based detection. So what Cortex XDR does is it'll employ machine learning to analyze the behavior. Okay, so this will help us to spot anomalies and suspicious activities that may not be identified by your normal tools. Cortex XDR will identify that. Okay. Then we can automate investigation. So in order to speed up the response, XDR automates the root cause analysis and case correlation so that security teams will quickly understand what is the scope of the incident. Okay, so you have automated investigation, then we have precision detection. Precision detection means we just need to give importance to the high fidelity issues, right? So we should not focus on the false positives or whatever noise it is coming. No, that will only give fatigue, right? So we need to reduce the alert fatigue, so that we can focus only on the real threats and not on the false positives. Okay, so we have precision detection and also integrated response, right? So when a threat is detected, Cortex XDR will enable rapid containment and remediation. Okay, so those actions can be taken across different security layers, and we can provide a coordinated response. Okay, so these are few core features available in Cortex XDR. Next is about the problem that XDR solves. So what are the problem available currently and how it can be solved using XDR? So the requirement is for better endpoint security. Okay, that is very important. Okay, why? Because we know ransomware attacks are going. So about 49% increase in ransomware attacks have happened in 2023. Okay, so um, the rise in ransomware attacks, it can cripple operations. Okay, and also lead to financial losses. So that is a very big thing. Okay, so we need to stop that. And also we can see more and more organizations are moving their resources to the cloud. All the resources are being moved to the cloud. Okay, so hence there is an increase in attacks targeting these cloud-based assets. Okay, so cloud workloads are being increasingly targeted. So 66% increase in your clouds from 2023. So that is happening. And also the average number of cost, the number and cost of breachings are rising. So we need to spend so much more money in order to stop these things. Okay, so all these issues are happening right now. And also we need to reduce the SOC cost and complexity. So there are multiple tools used for each of these security. So network security, you need to use few tools, endpoint security, identity cloud, others. And so we have more than 45 security tools on average, which you are using in order to avoid these attacks. The alerts, number of alerts, or we can call it as issues now. Okay, so more than 10,000 alerts are getting generated every day, and it's going to cause alert fatigue. Okay? And the time required to resolve these things. So let's say a case is created, incident is there. In order to investigate it and in order to respond it, remediate it, more than 4 days are required. Okay, which is a long day, which is a long time. Okay, so always the speed is very important. The speed is crucial. So we need to respond, we need to remediate as soon as possible. Okay. To reduce or to solve all these things, we have the Cortex XDR. Okay, so what Cortex XDR does is it is going to deliver holistic threat prevention, detection, and response. How? By blocking threats. Okay, so market leading endpoint security, you have the next generation antivirus database. You can provide device control, disencryption, host firewalling. We can do that using XDR. It can accurately detect, right? So you have the behavioral analytics with machine learning, customizable detection. We have the vulnerability management available in your Cortex XDR. Okay, we can do swift investigation by automation. So to identify the root causes and timeline analysis, we can do threat hunting. We have any information, let's say we have a lead, we can perform lead investigation. Integrated threat intel is there. Okay, and also we can respond and adapt. Okay, so we have integrated enforcement. We can integrate multiple tools. We can initiate a live terminal, let's say, and also we can do a search and destroy. Let's say we want to destroy any file on the endpoints, we can do that as well from our Cortex XDR. Okay, so your Cortex XDR delivers holistic threat prevention, detection, and response. And the last slide, I think, yeah. So we can detect and investigation threats with the cross data analytics and insights. So we are going to get logs from multiple sources. So obviously we'll have the endpoint data. Okay. Then we'll also have the network data, cloud data, as well as identity data. So all these data we are going to get and going to stitch it. Okay. So whatever data is coming, we are going to stitch them together and then combine it to a story. Okay, so we'll create a story with this, and then it will help the analyst to understand better what is the timeline of the attack. Okay, what is the life cycle of the attack? The whole story will be able to understand. Okay, we are going to analyze this. So analyze the story with machine learning and behavioral analytics. Okay, and once we do that, we can speed up investigations with cross data insights and alert grouping. Okay, so yeah, that's what we can do using Cortex XDR, and that's the end of module number 1, guys. Any questions in this? Any questions, participants? Irfan asked, can we record this? No, guys, we are not supposed to record. So from Palo Alto, they have strictly said no recording for these things. Okay, so yeah, so sorry about that. Cannot be recorded. Yeah, any questions, participants? From module number 1?
So Aaron,
Yeah.
yeah. I saw in the slide that our Cortex XDR should be doing something like a pre-execution things, right?
Post-execution monitoring. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, when we download the files, our XDR will not do anything about it, right? Until we execute it. Is that right?
No, if I want to do a malware scan, I can do that. But if it is in rest, no, it is not going to do anything. Only if we start running, let's say I open a application, I open a file. Only then your protection modules will come into picture and it's going to detect it and prevent it.
Yeah. So when we are not doing any malware scanning and also not execute the file, the file still there, right?
Yeah, it will be there. It will be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
But if we want to initiate a malware scan, then we can do that.
Yeah. Sure.
Even if it is in rest, we are not opening it. We are going to scan it and we are going to check whether it's a good one or bad one. If it's a bad one, malicious one, it will detect it and it will destroy it. Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, any more questions, participants? Or no? All good? If all good, give me a thumbs up then. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Dirk. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Hendrajail Jaya. Thank you. Thank you, Kwan. Okay. Not sure everyone is listening, everyone is attending. Okay. So this will be the lab for your, thank you, Tuan. Thank you. This will be the lab for the first module. So we'll have 3 labs for this. So log into the environment, perform walkthrough, and then NGFW walkthrough. Okay. So these are the related labs to module number 1. This we'll do later. Okay. So after the lunch break, we'll do the labs. Okay. Irfan asks, in our client, the network is isolated. Okay. Is post-execution monitoring needed? Yes, yes. So post-execution monitoring will also happen. Let's say it is nothing but the file is running. Okay, the process is running. Again, continuously, it will keep on monitoring. Okay, so it'll have the protection modules that will be injected, and it'll keep on monitoring. Even if the file is running, it'll keep on monitoring for any malicious activity. Okay, so yes, post-execution monitoring will happen automatically. It's not that needed or not, it'll happen automatically. Okay. Does that answer you, Irfan? Yeah, no problem. And Tung, I will help you. I'll check your lab. I'll check whether it is working or not. Don't worry. Okay. No worries. I'll check it personally. I'll try to connect it. Okay. Yeah. I hope no other questions, guys. Any other questions are all good? If all good, we can take a small break again before going to module number 2. We'll take a short break. Let's take a 15 minutes break this time and then come back and start with module number 2. Okay. So I'll put on the timer for 15 minutes. Do have some coffee or tea or whatever it is, and then we'll see you after 15 minutes. Okay.
So Aaron,
Yeah.
when we are going to have a lunch time?
Lab in the afternoon. After the lunch break, we'll have the labs. We'll do the
No, I mean
labs.
the lunch breaks. When
Lunch
we are
break,
having.
12:30 to 1 o'clock, or 12:30 or 1 o'clock, sometime something between that. And
Okay,
it'll
okay,
be a 1 hour lunch break. Okay.
okay.
Singapore time. So Singapore time, let's say 12:30. We'll keep it as 12:30. Better. Okay. So Singapore time, 12:30, we'll take the lunch break. Okay. So I'll put the tea break timer. We'll see you after 15 minutes, guys. Thank you. Hello, participants. I hope you all are back from your break. Shall we start the next module? Thank you. Awesome. Thank you for the response. Okay, so I guess you're able to view my screen, and I hope I'm loud and clear. So let's get started with the second module for the day, or the third module rather than that. Right, so this is module number 2, which is about software components. Okay, so in this module, we'll see in detail about your management console. Okay, so how do we get access to the management console, and what are the different menu options in our management console, how we can navigate through your management console, what are the different options in that. So we'll go through all those things. Okay, we'll talk in detail about console. Then we'll talk about agents in detail. So how to install the agent. Okay, first how to create the package in the console, and once we create the package, how do we install the package on the agent side. Okay, and then what are the different things we can do using your agent software. And then we'll talk about the groups, how to create the group, static group, dynamic group. And then we'll talk about the profiles, right? So what are the different profiles that can be created, right? So everything about agents we'll cover. And then also we'll talk about collectors. That is, if we want to collect logs from my endpoints where my agent is not there, or any system, Windows system, Linux system. So collectors is only available as of now only for your Windows systems and Linux systems, right? So any of these systems, I want to collect logs and then send it to my management console. How do we install the collector software? How do we configure those things? Everything we'll be covering in this module. Okay. So yeah, so first thing we'll talk about console, your management console. These are the same learning objectives. So we'll start with console. Okay. Now, as we discussed, the console is nothing but the tenant which the parallel networks are going to spin it up on the GCP and provide the access to us. Okay, so that is your management console. Now, what is this? It is nothing but a Cortex XDR instance, okay, which is created through instance activation by the Palo Alto networks. So Palo Alto are the ones who are going to activate this instance, okay. We can also call it as tenant. So tenant, instance, management console all mean the same thing, right? So even in our training, if I am saying tenant or instance or management console, all are the same thing, okay. In general, you can have one instance per tenant, that is based on the organization company. Each one will have their own tenant, okay. Or if I am handling multiple customers, I will be managing multiple tenants, okay. Now how this is activated? This activation requires a license, okay. So once you communicate to Palo Alto, they will provide you the license, that is in the form of a serial number, and using this the instance is activated, okay. And it's a one-time task, can take up to 1 hour, so that once it has started to activate all the elements, in order to spin up, it will take some 1 hour, okay. So it will create all the several software components in the Google Cloud platform, okay. So you will have the management console in your Google Cloud platform, and you're going to interact through your management console, okay. So that is your management console, right? Now, who are all going to access this management console? Who are all the users? So typical users are SOC operators, SOC analysts, and security engineers. So I hope we all fall into this category, okay. Now, what are the different things we can do using your management console? So typical tasks include, so about investigating the cases and the issues. That means incidents and alerts. So previous name was incidents for cases, previous name for issues was alerts. Okay, so investigating cases and issues, and we can respond to threats. Okay, we can manage the security on endpoints via configuring your profiles, adding the profiles on your policies. So we can do that. Creating installation packages, updating agents. Okay, and also we'll have lots of dashboards and reports to be generated. Okay, now how do I access this management console in the first place? So one thing is we can directly access at this one. So we can go to HTTPS over subdomain. For example, my company is ABCD. So I will give the name as ABCD. Okay, subdomain dot XDR dot region. Let's say my company or my Google, my office is in Europe. So I will give dot EU dot paloaltonetworks.com. Okay, so either I can give this URL directly and access my management console. Now, again, I need to have the credentials. So my CSP account credentials, I need that. Okay. If I have the CSP credentials, click on this URL, open this URL, give the credentials, directly you can sign into your management console. Okay. Or we can go to support portal, or we can go to Cortex gateway and access the instance. Okay. Now, how do we do this? So for example, let's say I want to first log into my support portal. Once I do that, then I can go to my Cortex gateway. From my gateway, I can go to my XDR instance. Okay. Now, how do I do that? So first is your support portal. So how do we do that? So let's say I go to, yeah, this is my support portal, or you can type support.paloaltonetworks.com, go to my support portal. Okay, now here I have already logged in. That's why it is taking me to support portal, but it'll ask you for the credentials, your CSP account now. Okay, and then you have another step of authentication. That is the two-factor authentication will happen, and then you will be logging into your support portal. Okay, once you log into your support portal, what is the next thing you need to do? Here I have the resources option. Okay, so go to resources, and at the bottom you have Cortex gateway. Okay, now in your CSP account, what are the different things you can do? So you have the administrators. So you want to manage your administrators, so you can do that. Okay, so under members, under manage users. So here's where you want to add any administrator, you want to provide them the authorization, what are the rules and responsibilities that they will have. All these things you can configure under your users. Okay, or whoever your administrators, you need to add them here. Okay, so that you can do. Then here's where all your assets will be added. Okay, whatever assets you have in your company, whatever firewalls, let's say firewalls or panorama, whatever you have got, those things will be there. The serial number, all your assets will be available in your support portal. Or let's say you want to create a case, you are facing some issue. Okay, and you want to create a case, you want to talk to your support team, so you have the option for that. You want to create a case, you want to register a device, let's say any firewall you have got, and you want to register that, that also you can do, right? So multiple options are available. So regarding your updates, regarding your software updates, regarding your dynamic updates, you want to know all those things you can do using your support portal. Okay, now what we are talking here, so once we get access to your support portal, you can create the users, configure authorization, authentication, everything in that. Okay, from your support portal, what you need to do, you need to go to my Cortex gateway, right? So Cortex gateway, where is Cortex gateway? Under resources at the bottom here, Cortex gateway. Click on Cortex gateway. Okay, it is going to take you to Cortex gateway. So click on sign in. It's going to sign in automatically. Since we have already signed into my support portal, it is all set. Oh, why it is not logging in? I have already logged in, right? Support portal. Yeah, it is logging in. Maybe it's more than 8 hours, I think I logged in. That's why it is again asking for sign in. Okay, so let me sign in. No problem, guys. So let me sign in. So this is your um, support portal account. It'll ask you for two-factor authentication. So also it will send a code, and I need to enter the code. It will send via mail. Let me enter the code. Just give me a moment. Yeah, got the code. And the code is 493368. Once I log in, it's going to automatically take me to Cortex gateway. Okay. So either I can come from my support portal, go to my gateway, or directly I can give cortex-gateway.paloaltonetworks.com. Okay. Once I do that, it's going to bring me to my gateway. Now, gateway is like a path to go and access my console. Okay. So here it will give me whatever tenants I have. No, here I have two tenants. Okay. So this is one tenant, this is another one tenant. Okay. I can select which tenant I want to go and access. So I can move my mouse over this. It's going to give me the details, whether it is active or not, whether the tenant, what is the tenant status, what is the region, what is the serial number, what is the tenant ID, what is the license details. All that information it is going to give me as my move my mouse over it. Okay. And also I'll have the information, what is my name, whether I want to go for a light theme or I want to go for a dark theme, management auditing, logout options. All these are there in your gateway. Okay. Now here is where you will also first activate your instance. Okay. So Palo Alto will spin it up, provide you the gateway. From my gateway, I can activate my instance. Okay. Now once the instance is ready, just click on it and it's going to take you to your management console. Okay. So that's how you get access to your management console. Now here, either I can directly go to this one as well. So HTTPS over ATP training. Now that is my subdomain. Okay. Then .xdr. .xdr, you cannot change that. That is common. Then .eu, that is my region. Then .paloaltonetworks.com, that is again common. Okay, so either I can give directly, so ATP training.xdr.eu.paloaltonetworks.com, click enter, and again it's going to ask me for the credentials. Okay, my support portal account credentials, it will ask me, and it's once I provide the credentials, it is going to take me to my management console. Okay, now this is how you get access to your management console. Now this is the older one, whatever I'm showing you, this is your 3.x version. Now they have upgraded to 4.x version. Okay. Now, if you have already worked, I'm not sure whether you're still working in 3.x or whether you have upgraded to 4.x. Okay. Now, 4.x is the much advanced one where lots of new options have come. So Cortex XDR has evolved immensely. Okay. Now, earlier you did not have the option of automation in your XDR. Now it has been introduced. Okay. Now this is the old one. I'm not going to show you. I'm not going to confuse this. I will show you the new one. Yeah. So this will be available in your lab. So let me go to the lab and show you what are the different new features available in my Cortex XDR. Okay. So Cortex XDR, once you get access to your management console. So this is how it will look like. Okay. Now you want to go for the light theme or dark theme. You can select it here at the bottom. So this will be your light theme. Okay. And this will be your dark theme. I think dark theme is more clearer. Okay. I'll keep it in dark theme. Okay. Yeah. Now, what are the different options available in my Cortex XDR management console? Now, you have got access to your management console. Okay. So you have got access to, where is my whiteboard? Okay. Yeah. So you have got access to your management console log. Okay. Now we'll explore what are the different options available in my management console, or I can call it as tenant, or I can call it as instance. Okay. So yeah, we'll explore this. Now, there are few tabs, okay, or few menu options. First, we'll explore them. Okay, so first menu, or let me zoom in. This will be good. Okay, first is your dashboard and reports. Okay, now under dashboard and reports, I have the dashboard option, reports, dashboard manager, templates, widget library. Okay, now if I want to view, now once I log into my management console, the first view will be about the dashboard. Okay, in my dashboard, let's say I want to view about the asset case management. Okay, so I can select which information I want to view first as soon as I log into my dashboard. So I can add these widgets. Okay, I can edit these widgets. So whichever information I want to view, I can enable that. Okay, so again, and also we want to generate reports. You want to customize your dashboards. You want to customize your reports. All these are available in your dashboard and reports. Now we have a dedicated module for this dashboard and reports. The last module we'll explore during that. Okay. Then you have the tab cases and issues. Cases and issues. Now cases were called as incidents. Okay. Issues were called as alerts. Okay. Now earlier in 3.x version, you did not have a issues page separately. You had to go to cases, that is you had to go to incidents, then you would have alerts table, something alerts table. You need to click on that and you will get all the alerts. Okay. But now what they have done is they have created a separate option for cases. Also issues, all the issues you want to view, you can view that. Okay. And also case configuration, certain configurations are there. Okay. So that is another tab. Then you have the investigation and response tab. Under investigation and response, you have the search option. That is, you want to do an SQL query, you can do that. Okay. Then you have the automation. Now, these are all new things. Automation was not there earlier. That is in XDR 3.x. The automation options were not there. Now they have newly introduced this one. So we have the automation playbook, scripts, all these things. Then you have the response action. Okay, so let's say you want to take any live terminal, you want to update the external dynamic list. What are the different actions? Let's say you want to retrieve from files, retrieve some files. You want to, do a malware scan. You want to isolate an endpoint. Multiple actions are there. Again, we'll explore all these things. Okay, so you have the investigation and response tab. Then we have threat management. Under threat management comes your detection rules. Okay, now you want to write rules like your IOC rules, BIOC rules, your correlation rules. Those rule types are there under threat management tab. Okay, then you have the posture management. Under posture management, you have the vulnerability. Okay, so vulnerability management you want to do. Then you are in compliance. You want to write rules and policies with respect to vulnerabilities. You have that in the posture management. Then you have the inventory. Okay, now previously in 3.x you had two tabs. One is for your asset management, that is your inventory management. Another one was your endpoint management. Okay, now what they have done is they have combined both and given it in inventory. So you have the asset management is there. Okay, and also your endpoint management options are also there, added in your inventory option. Okay, so this also will explore. Next we'll explore this only. Okay, then you have the modules is out of scope. We are not going to cover modules. Now under modules you have AI security, application security, attack surface management, data security, identity security, but we are not going to cover this. Okay, so this is beyond our scope of beyond the scope of our training. And also we have the option of marketplace. Marketplace also newly introduced in our Cortex XDR. It was not there before, only available in your XOR and XIM tools, but now they have introduced in your XDR as well. Okay, so marketplace is where we can get all the content packs. Okay, so this is like a repository. Okay, like an app store. So you whatever you want, integrations, any integrations you want, playbooks you want, scripts you want, all those things will be available in your marketplace. We can go and search for these things. Okay, so yeah, so those are all the different main tabs. So dashboard and reports, cases and issues, investigation response, threat management, posture management, inventory, modules, and marketplace. These are the tabs that are available, main tabs. Okay, other than that we have various options under settings. Okay, now when I go to settings, and let's say I want to know what are the licenses I have for my Cortex XDR. I can just go and click on this Cortex XDR license. It is going to show me what is the license that I have. So how many agents I have got, what is my memory license, okay, and then what are the add-ons that I have. So all the details will be available here. Okay, so what are the add-ons I have got, whether it is my whether the how much space I have got, right? So yeah, so regarding the license, so whether it's my pro license or not, that information I can get. Okay, then again under settings I have different type of logs. So I want to check the management audit logs, agent audit logs, XDR collect audit logs, health issues, all these are there. Also we have the exceptions configuration. Okay, so exceptions also will cover. Then you have the data sources and configuration. Under configurations we have multiple options, right? So general configurations are there. I want to configure the data broker, the collector configurations, the data management. Okay, and then your users. Now users you will be configuring in your settings option, and the configurations you'll be configuring your users. Okay, now first users you have to add it in your support portal. Okay, you'll be adding the users in your support portal. Once you have added them, then they will be available here. Okay, but still you need to authorize them. What is the roles and responsibilities that you are going to give them on your Cortex XDR? You need to configure that here. Okay, so you need to select the administrator. What is the permission you want to assign to them? You need to configure. For example, for this administrator, I will edit the user permission and I'll mention the role. What is the role that I need to assign? Okay, so all these roles are there. You want to configure your own role, that also you can do. So under roles, you can create a new role, okay, and define what the administrator can access, what the administrator cannot access, all those things. Rules, under rules, so you can configure the authorization part. Okay, or you want to create user groups, that also you can do. Okay, so yeah, so we'll explore all these things. So all these things are there under configurations. Okay, under settings, configurations. Then you want to navigate to some other tenant. So here we went to Cortex XDR. We had the option of two tenants. Okay, I can select any of one of the tenants from here and go and access that. Okay, from my from my um, um, lab, sorry, not the lab, from my management console, I want to go to some other tenant. Just go to tenant navigator and select whichever tenant I want to access. I can select that tenant. Okay, so that is tenant navigator, and the notifications will be available here. Whatever new notifications are coming in your XDR, that will be available here. Then help option, this will have the documentation. Okay, you want to know about XDR, you want to go and create a case. And then finally, this one option, it'll give you the about information. So what is the license? What is the version? Okay, what is your role as administrator? What is the version of your Cortex XDR? All these basic things is available about your Cortex XDR. Then what is new in this release? You want to know what are the new features that are being there. You want to log out from the Cortex XDR. You can also use the logout option. Okay, so these are the different options available in our Cortex XDR. Okay, now as we go through the modules, we'll explore each and everything. Okay, so even if you are not aware of what are these things, not a problem. As we go through the modules, as we do the labs, we'll be exploring all these menus and all the options. Whatever important options are there, everything will be exploring in your lab. Okay, so yeah, so these are the different options available in the management console. Let's go back to the slides. Yeah, so first, how do we sign in? Okay, so either you can do you directly give your instance URL, sign in, or sign into your gateway, then access your instance, or first go to CSP, then go to gateway, then select your instance. Okay, so all this is happening on your cloud. Endpoints will be there on-prem. Okay, yeah, so first, let's say you are going via support portal. Okay, so you first log into your support portal. Okay, now in your support portal, so customer's point of access for all the support related issues is in your support.paloaltonetworks.com. Okay, so here we can view and manage authentication for XDR instances. Okay, then what are the different things we can do using support portal? So we can create and track support cases. So if you want to create a case, you want to track it, you can do that. Registering any hardware device, yes, we can do that. Manage your assets and licenses, okay, so that we can do. Your updates, that is your dynamic updates, software updates, you want to download them via support portal, you can do that. Managing a CSP accounts, what are the administrators, the users, okay, so all these things available in your support portal, customer support portal. Okay, so you can log into this one first, then you can get access to your gateway. Okay, so gateway, you can give this URL, so cortex-gateway.paloaltonetworks.com. This will be like a link to the management console. Okay, so also through a link in management console, we can do that. Okay, so what are the different things we can do using gateway? So we can activate the new instance, access an entitled Cortex XDR instance, and also view and manage authorizations for Cortex XDR instance through role-based access control. So this is your gateway. And finally, oh, this is your gateway again. Yeah. So you can select your name. Then you want to switch between the light and dark modes. You can do that. And also select which tenant you want to go for. Okay. So when you move your mouse over this one, it'll show you all the data. So whether it is active or not, what is the region, what is the serial number, ID, license details, all that information it will show you when you move your mouse over this tenant. Okay. And whichever tenant you want to get access, just click on it. It'll take you to that tenant. Then you have the content updates, right? Now, what are the different types of content updates that you should get? So all the settings in the default profiles, okay? Then you have the list of protected process that will be by default. Who are all the trusted signers, known signers, any block listed files by signers, local analysis models and rules, your BTP rules, scripts used by the agents, your Python scripts provided by Palo Alto, all these come under your content updates. Okay, and this you need to continuously receive in your management console. Okay, so all these things sent by your Palo Alto. So Palo Alto engineers will do all these things and send you these updates. Okay, now and we need to make sure we enable these things, right? So this has to be continuously received. Okay. Now how do we enable this? So minor content updates can be enabled by default. These are not enabled, so we need to enable it. Now where do we enable this? So for this we need to go to setup. Okay, under settings. Under settings we have configurations. So go to configurations, and then on the top we have the general. Under general we have agent configurations. Okay, under agent configuration, now here you have a global uninstall password. Okay, now what is this? First I'll tell you this. What is this global uninstall password is? Let's say you want to perform some actions on your agent side. Okay, now if you are doing that using SciTool, now SciTool is a CLI method. Okay, any options here, any actions you are performing on the agent side using SciTool, sometimes it may require a password. Okay, that password is called as a uninstall password, or you can call it as a supervisor password. Okay, now that supervisor password is set up here, and this is a global one. That means for all the agents, this supervisor password will be enabled. Okay, so here's where you will be configuring your global uninstall password or global supervisor password. Okay, but here guys, all of us, you, me, everyone is going to make use of the same management console. This is a shared one. Okay, so all of us will be sharing, or all of us will be accessing the same management console here, same tenant only. Okay, now I can go and configure the uninstall password here. Any one of you can come and configure this uninstall password or supervisor password here. Okay, others will not know. I may not know what you are configuring here, or you may not know what I am configuring here. Okay, now if that is being done, how do we do the configurations on the agent side? Now that will become a problem. Okay, so that's why we have one more option. Okay, so we can configure this uninstall password, or we call it as a supervisor password, on the agent settings profile. Okay, so for each agent we can configure a unique supervisor password. Okay, so that we'll see while configuring your agent settings profile. Okay, now here it is done globally, but if you are configuring the same password in your agent settings profile, that one will supersede this one. Okay, so just understand, here we can create a global password. We'll see while configuring the agent settings profile, how does it supersede this one. We'll see that later. Okay, yeah, now coming to your updates, make sure you have enabled this one. So enable minor content version updates. Okay, so enable this, save this, all the updates automatically you'll be getting. So whatever we saw, all the updates you'll be getting automatically. Okay, so make sure you enable this. By default, it will not be enabled, but make sure you enable this. Okay. So yeah, so that's some basic information about your console. Now, how do we access everything? How do we configure everything? As we go through the modules, we'll be exploring only your management console. Okay. So we'll see that as we go through the modules. Okay. Now we'll talk about the agents. Okay. Now, what are agents? How do we create the package, installation package? How do we install them? All these things we are going to cover. Okay. Yeah. Now, what are agents on the first place? So agents, your Cortex XDR agent is installed on your endpoints. Okay. Now, what are endpoints on the first place? Endpoints are nothing but whatever devices you are having in your environment, whatever devices you are having, which will connect to the network. Okay. That means it will have IP address and which connects to your network. All those are called as endpoints. And I want to safeguard all these endpoints, whether it is a cell phone or a server, desktop, laptop, whatever it may be. I want to safeguard them. I don't want them to be infected by any malware or any exploits. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to install the agent on my endpoints. Okay. But first, in order to install this, what I need the installation package. Okay. Now, where do I get that? So using the management console, I can create and download an agent installation package. Okay. So using my management console, I need to create that, download it. Okay. Once I download it, I can manage it. I need to install those agent softwares on my endpoints. Okay. Installing the Cortex XDR agent on your endpoint is performed at the endpoint level. So now I have to go to the endpoint, install the agent here on my endpoint. Okay, that's how I'm going to safeguard my endpoints. Right, so I hope that is clear. Now, why do we need to do this endpoint control? Okay, what is the significance, right? So data access. So most of the attackers, what they will do is they will attack the endpoints only. Why? Because that's where they will get the data, maximum amount of data they will be getting from your data, from your endpoints only. So yeah, so data access is there. Okay. Then your threat entry points. Now, endpoints are easy entry points. Okay, so endpoints are easy entry points for your attackers. Easily they will be able to get access to my endpoints. For example, or they will use a USB drive. Okay, so they will give you a USB drive. Hey, you put this on your laptop. I will not know what is there on my USB pen drive. I will put the pen drive on my laptop and it may get infected. Okay, so they are all easy entry points. Okay, then we need to have compliance. That is, every office should have the compliance that the endpoint should be safeguarded. Okay, so for your data protection and privacy, so that is there. Then your data loss prevention. So securing endpoints helps avoiding all your data breaches, all your leaks, those are avoided. Okay, and also user productivity. So ensuring security protects users from any threats, preventing disruptions. So yeah, so user productivity is there. Okay, so securing endpoints is essential for protecting data, preventing threats, and maintaining compliance, all the while ensuring seamless user productivity. Okay, now how this is done? So what is the role of XDR in the first place in EDR? So in the context of endpoint detection and response, our EDR plays a crucial role by bringing endpoint data together with broader security insights. Okay, now how this is done, we'll see. So first of all, what are the key benefits? Okay, so why we need to have the endpoint protection? So it is going to provide us unified threat detection and enhanced visibility. Okay, so all the logs are going to come to my XDR and we are going to have a unified threat detection. Then case management and response. So whatever issues are there, okay, everything is going to be generated as a case and it is going to streamline your detection, investigation, resolution of endpoint cases. We can continuously monitor, okay, and do proactive security. So continuously monitor the endpoint activities in order to stay ahead of emerging threats, maintaining a proactive security posture. And also we can enable automated responses. Okay, so automates tasks like terminating processes, isolating endpoints to limit the case impact. Okay, so these are all the key features for better endpoint security in our Cortex XDR. Okay, now how do we generate the packages? First, what is the first step? We need to generate the packages, then install those packages on the endpoints, right? So first, how do we generate the packages? Okay. Now, our agent software is supporting in all these OS platforms. Okay. So agent software is available on your Windows system, your Mac OS, Linux, Android, and iOS. Okay. So Windows, it supports Mac OS, Linux, Android, iOS. In all these softwares or all these platforms, we can install the agent software. Okay, all these are supported. But it'll have varying capabilities. Okay. Now, all the capabilities may not be there in all these platforms, but most of them will be there. Okay. Some exceptions may be there. For example, no exploit prediction profile for your Android endpoints. For Android, the exploit prevention is not there. Okay. So like this, few limitations may be there depending on the platform. Okay. It is keeping on evolving. Very soon, everything will have all the capabilities. But now, as of now, certain limitations are there with respect to variable capabilities. Okay. Then it supports your VDI. So VDI support is there both in your persistent and non-persistent. Okay. So it supports your Linux containerized versions, that is your Kubernetes. So cloud runtime protection, Kubernetes support is there. Okay. So all these platforms, your agent is the agent software supports all these platforms. Now, how do we install this, right? So how do we create the package? How do we install? We'll talk about that, right? So you have a dashboard, agent management, which will show you all this information. Okay? Yeah. So how do we create the installation package? Now, rather than going through the slide deck, we'll see the demo. Okay. In our management console, how do we do all these things? So first, we need to generate the installation package. How do we do that? Okay. So for that, we need to go to inventory. Okay. Under your menus, we need to go to inventory. Under inventory, we have endpoints. Okay. Under endpoints, we have installations. So go to installation to create an installation package. Okay. So you have the installation, agent installations here. Okay. Now what we need to do, we need to just click on create to create a new installation package. So click on create and it's going to give me these details. Okay. Now I need to give the details of the installation package. What should be the name? Okay. What should be the name of my installation package? Now here is where make sure you use the 5 numbers. Okay. So I have given you the student port numbers, usernames. In that your student port number will be there. Okay. So make sure you use the student port number. Okay. Now the one I am using is 32200. Yeah. So 3220. So let's say I will give some name Windows 32200. Yeah. So this is my port number. Okay. You guys can use your port number. So all of you have the port number, five numbers, make use of that one. Okay. So give a name for this installation package. Okay. Then in what platform I want to install this installation package. So whether it is for my Windows platform or whether it is for Mac OS, Linux, Android or iOS, which platform I want to do. Okay. Let's assume, I think you will be doing it for the Linux and all other things in your lab. Let me do it for Windows. I want to create an installation for my Windows system. So my desktop is a Windows system. I want to create the installation package for Windows. Okay. Then you want to give any description. You can give a description, which is optional. Then select the version, which version of installation package you need to create. Now, always it is recommended you go for the most recent one. Okay. So you'll have multiple packages, installation packages, versions, go for the most recent one. Whatever is at the top, select that one. Okay. Highly recommended. Okay. So select the version. Then you want to have any tags. Okay. You want to add any endpoint tags, you can add that. You want to create any new tags here, you can do that. Or later also you can create the tag and add the tag here. Okay. So that is also optional. Okay. Then what is the package type? So whether it is a standalone install means directly you can take this package, install it, it will get activated. Okay, so that is your standalone installer, or you want to upgrade from ESM, or you want to go for Kubernetes. Okay, so Kubernetes, Helm, these are all for containers. Okay, containers systems. So you can create the installer as per your requirement. You can add the installer, right? So this time I'll go for the standalone installer. Okay, so select the package type. Once everything is done and you have configured everything, just click on create. Once you do that, it'll show me the update here. So you can see in progress. So, okay, one more person is doing as we are talking. Yeah. So this I have done. Okay. So this is mine. So now you can see the status completed. So you can click on the refresh button and you'll be able to see the status it is completed. Okay. Now my package is ready. Installation package is ready. Okay. Now what I need to do, I need to do a right click. I have all these options here. Okay. I want to edit the name. Okay. I can do that. Or let's say I want to delete. If I feel, oh, this installation package, if it is fallen under the wrong hands, okay, somebody else will be having this package. I don't want this. I can delete it. Okay. Or I have all these options. Now I want to download this one. Okay. What I'll do a right click, 64-bit installer, download the MSI file. .msi file, you just download it. Okay. Now once you download it, let it download. Yeah. I have this in my downloads folder. Okay. Now once I have this package, what I need to do, I need to go to my endpoint. I need to install this installation package. Okay. Now let's assume this is my endpoint. Okay, this is my Windows system, and this is my endpoint, and this is where I need to provide the security. Okay, so this is my endpoint, and this is where I need to provide the security. Now I need to install my agent software here in this endpoint. So what I'll do, go to the downloads and just run this file. Okay, so it'll run the wizard, setup wizard. So just keep clicking on next. So accept the license terms. Next, install. Automatically it'll get installed. Okay, it's also not going to ask you for any path, nothing. It will just install it automatically. Okay, so let it get finished. Yeah, it is done. Okay, now what I need to do, I just need to click on the finish button and my agent is now available on my endpoint. Okay, now how do I know it is there? You can just click on this arrow button, that is your icons, and you will have this console here. Oh, sorry, here it is. Yeah, Cortex XDR console. Okay, now I have installed it, but still it will be a dummy software only. Okay, it has not yet communicated to my console, and still it is a dummy software only. So when I open the console, so just do a right click, click on the console, and you will get the Cortex XDR web interface console. Okay, now you can see as of now nothing is enabled. So advanced protection is disabled, anti-exploit protection, anti-malware, nothing is enabled as of now. Why? Because I have just installed this and still it is a dummy software only. Okay, now when it communicates to my management console, only then it will pull all the protection modules. Only then it will be activated. Okay, now how do I do this is you have the option of manually doing a check-in. Okay, now by default every 5 minutes automatically it will perform a heartbeat, communicate to the management console. Okay, or I want to do the communication manually, I want to do the communication, I have the option of check-in here. Okay, now you can see here this is the connection. So ch Cortex XDR dev 007.traps.paloaltoinvoice.com. Okay, so it is trying to communicate to that one. I will manually do a check-in. It will now try to communicate to the management console and try to pull all the profiles, all the policy rules, and then only it will be activated. Okay, now it is still connecting. Let's see. Once it gets connected, all the protections will be enabled. Still connecting, performing the heartbeat actually. Okay. Still connecting. So this is your URL. So Cortex XDR dev 007.xdr, right? So you can see here the same thing. It's trying to connect to that same thing. So ch Cortex XDR dev 007. Okay, so it's connecting, trying to connecting to that management console, and it is connected. Now you can see it is enabled. Okay, so advanced endpoint protection is enabled, and exploit protection, malware protection, all are enabled now in this agent. Okay, now in my endpoint, now here in my endpoint, if anybody is trying to open any malicious file, any malicious application, or any exploits are being there, This agent software automatically will detect it and it's going to prevent that. Okay, so now it is enabled. Now, if you want to see whether this endpoint is connected to my management console or not, what I need to do on our management console, go to endpoints, go to all endpoints. Okay, go to all endpoints and try to see whether they are connected or not. So just click on the refresh button and you can create a filter here. So for the connected endpoint status connected. Yeah. Yeah. So you can see this is my device. Okay. 32200. Okay. That is my device and that is connected. Okay. And this is my device name. So when I go to my endpoint and I want to know what is the device name or host name, just open the command prompt. Yeah, open the command prompt and just type host name. Okay, you will know what is a host name. So when I type host name and enter, yeah, this is my host name. So XIM ILT 32200. Okay, now the same thing is available here. So XIM ILT 32200. You can see it is connected. Okay, that means my management console is now connected to my endpoint. This agent software, it is connected. Okay, now here this is your agent console. Okay, now in your agent console, few basic things you can do. So you can check the status, so whether it is connected or not. You want to do a manual check-in, you can do a manual check-in. You want to generate a tech support file from your agent console, just click on this generate support file. Automatically it's going to generate the tech support file. Okay, so that you can do. You can check the events. Let's say any event is happening, any malware is detected, any exploits are detected, those events will be updated here automatically. So at what time, what is the file name, which protection module identify that information is available here. Okay, then you want to do any scan, you can perform a scan here in your agent console, and also few basic settings, that is whatever language you want, those basic settings you can set up here in your agent console side. Okay, so this is how you activate your agent on the endpoint. Okay, so you create the installation package, download the installation package, then you have the installation package on your endpoint, install it. Okay, once you install, your agent will get activated here on your endpoint side. And how do you check in your management console? Go to the all endpoints, filter out the connected endpoints, and you'll be able to see it is connected. Okay, so this is how you install the agent software on the endpoints. Okay. So again, the same thing is given here on this slide deck. We'll quickly run through these things, right? So agent installation on the endpoints begins with creating an agent installation package. Okay, so where do we create? Go to inventory, go to installations, click on create, and we need to populate all these things. So what is the name? What is the platform? Version, make sure you select the most recent version. Okay, and what is the package type? Configure everything, create, and your installation package will be ready. So select the version, select the package type, create. Once it is ready, make sure you check the status. Once it is ready, download it. So go to 64-bit installer, download the MSI file, .msi file, download it. Okay. Once you have the file, now next you need to install that on the endpoint. Okay. So initial setup, create the agent installation package in the management console, move the package to endpoints and install it locally. Now, how do we move it to endpoints? You have various tools for that. Okay, you can use Google Drive or whatever way you want to move the agent package to the endpoints, you can do that. Okay, then software update can update multiple agents from your management console, your updates, and then also your content updates. So distinguish your content updates from your software. Now content updates is different from software updates. Okay, so content updates also known as dynamic updates. This will contain all the updated signatures, changes to your default settings. Okay, and all these updates are automatically sent to your agents. Okay, you don't have to do anything, automatically sends the updates to the agent side. Now, what are the different components on your agent side? That is your agent software which you are installing. What are the components in that? Okay, so you will have the interface. Yes, So one is your console, that is this interface, whatever we saw here on your endpoint side. This is your interface. Okay, so this will have, also we'll have a CLI application called Site2. Okay, so that also get installed as you are installing the package on your endpoint. Your Site2 is also installed. Okay, now more on Site2. We'll discuss this on day 3, the third day of what is Site2, how we can access the Site2, what are the basic commands in Site2. We'll explore that on day 3. Okay, but yeah, these are the 2 ways we can access the agent. Okay, then you have the protection modules. So we have the malware protection modules, exploit protection modules, and extensions. All those are automatically sent. Okay, then you have the enhanced endpoint data monitoring. Okay, now this will be there only if you have the pro license. If you got the pro license, you will have the enhanced endpoint data monitoring. That is all, whatever is happening on your agent side, whatever files and folders are being used, or whatever process is running, whatever applications are open, everything is being monitored and it is sent as logs to the management console. Okay, then your components to connect to your Cortex XDR service, that is there. Then your metadata, your databases, logs, JSON files, registry, all these things, and obviously your kernel drivers as well, OS kernel drivers as well. Okay, so these are all the components in your agent side, in your agent software. Once you install it, all these things will be there. Yeah, so this is your agent console. Okay, so available in all these OS, all the 5 OS, it is there. So this is how you can see whether it is enabled or not. You want to do a manual heartbeat, you can do that. Initiate a manual heartbeat, yes, you can do that. So on the symbol, that is your show icon symbol, click on that and you will get this symbol. Do a right click, you will get this. When you click on console, you will get this console. Okay, so this option, you want to generate a tech support file, click on this, it'll aggregate the logs and generate a tech support file. You want to know what are the different events happening, identified, click on events. You want to do a scan, you want to check the scan reports, go to scan, and some basic settings are there in your settings tab. Okay. And also you have the CLI tool, command line interface tool called Site2. Okay. Now this tool is available only on your Windows, Mac OS and Linux. Okay. Not available in your Android as well as your iOS. So in those tools, it is not there. In those platforms, it is not there. Only in your Windows, Mac OS and Linux. Okay. Now this Site tool has a lot more capabilities than whatever you have in your agent console. Agent console, yes, you can see the basic things, right? Whereas your Site tool has more capabilities than your agent console. For example, let's say you want to stop the agent. You can do that using your Site tool. Not possible via your agent console, but via your Site tool, you can do that. Okay. But many options which you want to perform, many actions you want to perform, it will ask you the supervisor password. Okay, so like this. So let's say you want to stop the agent. Okay, if you give this command, it will ask you, okay, what is the supervisor password? If you have the supervisor password, you can perform the action. Okay, now by default, the password is password1. So you need to enter password 1 here. Enter, then the action will happen. Okay, so this is the default password, which is usually set in your global password. So everyone, all the agents will use the same password, password1. Okay. Now, either you can use this one, or as I said, this is a shared console. Okay. So this is the shared console. So I think one more person, they created the agents. Yeah. So this person, he's also accessing the same console. I am also accessing the same console. All of you, whoever will do the lab, will access the same console. Okay. Now, any one of you, you can go and change the password here. That is in your global password. Any one of you can go and set up the password. Okay. I will not know. Okay. So that is a problem. That's why we have the password as in your agent settings as well, agent settings profile as well. Okay, I'll come to that. I'll show you how to set up the password in your agent settings profile. Okay, but by default, everyone will use the same password, password1. But if you go and change, it will not be the same. Okay, but yeah, more on Site tool. we'll see on day 3. And regarding this password in your agent settings profile, I'll show you later in some time. Now, what is the time? Is it already till 12:30? Yeah, guys, it's already past 12:30. Okay. How much is there? Okay. Guys, you want to go for lunch now? Is it already lunchtime? What do you guys prefer? You want to break for lunch now? Or you want to continue? Please, guys. Okay, I'll say lunchtime. How many of you want to go for lunch? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, so I am getting 4 thumbs ups for lunchtime. Okay, fine, guys. Then we'll break for lunch. Okay, and then we'll come back, continue, complete the module. Then we'll go to the labs. Okay. Okay, guys. So it'll be a 1 hour lunch break. So I'll put on the timer for the lunch break. Please go for lunch, come back, and then we'll continue. Okay. Okay, guys. So I'll stop till here. We'll go for lunch. Okay. And for Tung, I'll check your lab now. Okay, and I'll sort it out. Okay. Yeah. Okay, guys. Please break for lunch. Have a good lunch. We'll see you after 1 hour. Thank you. We'll meet after 1 hour. Okay. I'll put on the timer so you can follow the timer when exactly you have to come back and join. Listen to the meeting. Okay. Okay. And the meantime, let me solve it for tongue. I'll check the lab. So what is the login for tongue? So this okay, Tang, what is your username? User 32199, is it?